Welcome back, everyone. It has been a bit of an odd 24 hours, well, I guess 12 hours, while we've been reacting to what on earth happened last night. The slight lateness, by the way, is caused by the cat was sat on this sofa and refused to move, and I didn't want to push it away. So I couldn't sit in my normal place. Although, very nicely, the cat then was cooperative and walked off by itself. It's great to see everyone. Thanks to all of you for congratulating me on my qualification last night. I was in Euroclub, and I think genuinely somewhere between 20 to 30 people came up to me and were like, hey, congrats for qualifying, with these big, shit-eating grins on their face. So this is a cross I'm really going to have to bear forever. Now, as you all know, I am a ray of sunshine. I'm full of positive vibes and energy and so on. So I have decided today to balance it out by bringing on the embodiment of evil. That is, of course, the one and only ESC Gotham, who is standing looking at me smugly from off camera. So, welcome to the stream, the angriest man in Eurovision.
Thank you. It's truly an honor to be here and be so evil.
How,
and I'm here to run your stream.
How traumatized are you after yesterday?
I'm shocked. I'm honestly shocked. I'm so glad my girls made it. But other than that, what happened yesterday was nothing we saw coming. We didn't expect that whatsoever. And I'm here to talk about it because I fear it needs to talked about.
It was a bit of a mess. I mean, there's an obvious place we're going to start in a minute in terms of non-qualifiers. Firstly, I do just want to go through what we're going to do today on the stream. Obviously, I think we'll go through a couple of the big headlines first. We'll try and sprinkle them through. I want to talk about everyone in semi-final too, because I think there were some people who really showed up, some people who, in a way we expected because we'd seen clips from rehearsals and everything else, and things looked good. Some who actually showed up on the day having had the entire narrative against them the entire week. Later on, we're also going to be talking about the grand final running order, which is also out. I'm stressed about this. I have thoughts about this, but we are going to save that for later. Firstly, I just want to thank some early supports in some super chats, and I want to read them all out quickly. I have also now found the tab. There was a couple of people saying that occasionally I miss a super chat. Turns out on YouTube chat, there's a tab that shows all of them in a list for me. So I'm looking at that now. Danny Elias, thank you so much, says, is it too early to say that this has been the best Eurovision since 2021? It honestly feels like Switzerland has brought Eurovision back to life. I would say the atmosphere is very different this year.
It is.
Because I think we can both say this. I mean, I was there, come across this way a little bit, by the way. I was there in Malmö last year, and while I should say the Swedes do an amazing production, like SVT on a production level did absolutely everything right.
Yeah.
But in terms of the context around the contest and everything, it was just a horrible week. I remember we woke up on this day last year, and the Friday was that day where Joost Klein got disqualified. We'd had the Rai televote leak the night before. There was massive, protests outside the arena. Every newspaper in Europe was running front page stories about the booing at the show the night before. The atmosphere was horrible. This year, it feels like the magic is back.
Yeah, kind of. But it might be also because we are here. But there's I feel like it is better in a way because we don't have all that controversy happening. And everyone I've met, they're so excited to be here. It feels like a normal Eurovision after whatever happened last year. Because even though Gabe was there in Malmö, I wasn't. And yet it was still tough. Especially after semi-2. I remember being there with my friends and just losing our minds over the televote, over the running order, over everything. So I'm just so glad we don't have that this year, because I kind of expected something similar to happen this year. It hasn't happened yet. Yeah. So I'm just really glad.
I would say in terms of, Daniel said best Eurovision since 2021, I thought 2023 was the best of the modern era. So for me, 2023 will always reign supreme. There's probably some home country bias in there. I just think Liverpool did an amazing job. And the spirit, even though it wasn't the best production, I think probably I'd say the Swedes had the best production. It wasn't the best stage, and actually, I love this stage this year.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It was, in fact, I mean, the stage looked a bit. You know what? I'm not going to go there. Overall, the 2023 edition, it was just so full of joy. Emilio says, "W Garg, you were outstanding. Also, so pleased with Latvia qualifying. I believed in them from day one. We need to see if you can get Jay to send it to me. There is a video of our reaction when Latvia qualified, because Gotham, we were together. Gotham immediately burst into tears, and I just gave him the biggest hug, and it was really, really sweet. We will probably be able to get that by the end of the stream. If you have your phone on you, could you text him? Go get it now. Go text him, because honestly, it's priceless. I really want you guys to see this. Finally, Ellen says, waking up at 5 a.m. to watch Australia NQ was so hard. Don't think I've ever cried so much. Still super proud of Gojo and the whole Oz team for the wonderful work they put in. One proud Aussie right here. Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, it was a massive, massive shock. I am still processing it. It was... I'm going to discuss this with Gotham as well. I think it might actually be the biggest shock non-qualifier of the week, bigger than Belgium. And even though the vocals weren't perfect with Australia, I actually think that kind of doesn't matter that much. And the reason I think that is that it's a song that it's more about the charisma of the performer rather than about the anything else. We're gonna get the rehearsal clips up just to remind you guys of broadly what we saw last night. Try and put into words, Gotham. How did this happen?
I have no clue whatsoever. I was so sure that Australia would qualify. I did a video on semi 1, but I also recorded one for semi 2 as well, but I just never edited it because I didn't have time. I put this as 4th in the semi-final. I was so sure Australia was going to make it. It might just be because it's Australia. The vocals weren't bad. The staging was incredible. His charisma, one of the best performers out of the entire year. His stage presence, it should be studied. He is so charismatic.
And the staging was so fun. It was so fun. It was so silly. Even you enjoyed it, and you hate fun.
I do,
so
but it
must
was
have been
amazing.
onto something good. I think the thing is as well, the one concern I have, and you guys will see me talk about this in my video tonight. You will remember I did a video on Wednesday about semi-final 1. Thank you, Alejandro Ganacho, who says, congrats on qualifying. I can never win. I can never escape. No, but I really appreciate the support. Is that Erica and Miriana, it was less blatant, right? There was this kind of nudge, nudge, wink, wink in some ways about the sort of, in Miriana's case, the word that was being suggested. This isn't a PG stream. The word cunt, which was being suggested. In Erica's case, because it's in Finnish, while the text is very blatant and so Finns will understand it straight away, most people won't understand it on first listen. Most people won't go to look at the lyrics before they vote. So in this case, let's be blatant. The song is very blatantly just about cum. The song, it's obvious. And anyone watching it with a cursory understanding of English will understand that as well, because every line's an innuendo. It was always going to be sort of playing a game between, are people going to find it sort of cheeky and silly and funny, or are people going to go, ugh?
I don't even think it's that. I don't think it's because of the nature of the song. I honestly think because we had Malta, we had Finland, we also got Australia, we had a couple of other televote bait songs that were naughty and self-suggestive in a way. I think they all clashed. And the stronger ones advanced and the weaker ones just didn't. And I fear Australia just didn't because I hate to say it, but Finland and Malta are just stronger packages overall.
It's interesting you say that, because on the night, I thought Finland, we will come to Finland. We will have plenty to talk about Finland, but I'm going to make you guys wait for that because we want to build up to that. That was the headline of the semi. It's going to be the headline of the video later on, and it's going to be the headline here as well. I got so focused on Finland. Oh yeah, I thought Finland's performance was a lot better, but I thought Finland was the best in the semi and in a league of its own.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I was a bit worried about Malta just because And maybe we can go on to that next. It might be a good place to go to. There was 2 problems for me. A little bit on the vocals and a little bit on the way they've changed the narrative of this song from what it was at the national selection. Just quickly before we go to it, I do want to thank, because I don't want to get too far behind on them, I do want to thank Monstera for your support. Says, this seems to be year of the underdog. So pleased for Latvia and Lithuania, gutted for Australia, but vocals seemed off. Going first is daunting. Going first is a statistical slight advantage, actually.
Yeah.
It's second, third, fourth sucks, but first is a slight statistical advantage. Kayla, my normie sister fell in love with Gojo in the space of 3 minutes and then got heartbroken 3 hours later. A loss for the casuals. Indeed, I know a lot of sort of what I call normal people who quite like this song. And Fever Pitch says, do you think the audience muting and sound mixing contributed to Australia's NQ? Your thoughts on that?
I don't think so. I think, honestly, it was just like a little bit too much in terms of like entries that are aiming to get votes from a target audience. And when you have like 3 or 4 of them, one is not going to make it. They cannot all advance. And I'm just gutted because, as you said, it's really a loss for the casuals, because my best friends back home were messaging me throughout the entire thing. They were watching it in a gay bar in Sofia, and they loved Australia. I haven't met a person that doesn't like the song, that doesn't like the staging. I think we all like it, but I just fear like everything, these 3 or 4 entries were reaching for the same audience, and the audience is not going to vote for like 5 countries. They're going to vote for 1.
Maybe 2 at a push. I think most people, my theory is, I have no data to back this up, most people pick the phone up exactly once, vote once for the song they like, and put it back down again.
Yeah.
I think for the most part, I think that's partly why, for example, if you take the Israeli televote last year, the reason why it was so high was because they did really effective messaging around that you can vote 20 times.
Yeah.
Which, you know, if you, and obviously that, you know, basic maths, 20 is 20 times more than 1.
Yeah.
Livka, thank you so much for the support, says, I think Gojo's staging was a bit much. You were so busy following the show, you kind of didn't pay attention to the song so much. One of the themes of this week for me at the moment feels like, and I said it the other day, that there's that old phrase, it's the economy, stupid, when talking about elections. This week, a little bit, I am thinking it's the song, stupid. Like, people like it when they can focus on the song more.
Yeah.
And that could play into a few people's favour in a moment. Latvia qualifying, says Devlin, and France, Finland giving winner potential now. I love good news. We are so back. Exactly. We'll come back to all of those in a bit. Linus, thank you for the donation. Anne-Mary, the Erica Vickman tattoo is looking more of a possibility. I still, maybe I'll get a temporary tattoo or something. I promised the other day on the stream, I was pressured into promising I'd get an Erica Vickman tattoo if she won Eurovision.
I made the same promise. I said I was going to get Ich komme tattooed on my ribs.
Oh my God. I'm not getting it on my ribs.
I will. If Erica wins, I'm doing that.
Yeah. Donut says, great streams, been watching all week as it's my week off. Did you hear that Sky TV users in the UK and Ireland missed most of Serbia and Finland, and we just managed to see the results? I guess there must have been an outage. It reminds me of, now some of you might not remember this. Last year, no, or was it 20? No, it was last year. So Luna from Poland, when she was on stage, the Serbian feed was cut and replaced by footage of the Chinese Premier Xi Jinping landing in Belgrade, which was happening at the same time. Smudge makes a really good point as well, saying that both Serving and Ishkoma were aiming to fill that cheeky and suggestive space along with Gojo. Those votes can't go 3 ways. Gojo missed out. Yeah, I think that's exactly what we're saying. Amelia, yeah, I do think people could have thought Australia was safe. Thank you all for your support. We are going to stay on the sort of cheeky songs, I think, because we were talking about Malta and a couple of things we were maybe a little worried about. So, Gotham, your initial assessment of what we saw last night.
When the rehearsal clip came out, I was like, okay, this is doing everything it's supposed to do. Like, I can see the vision, it's the legs, the lips, the disco balls, like it's just so camp. Watching it live yesterday, and I watched the jury show as well, it didn't hit, it just didn't. It seemed like a little messy to me, honestly. We switched to dark and then to light again, and it has like, they tried to make it so camp that like, for the most part, it just reads across as a little bit kitschy, in my opinion. It didn't go like I expected more, honestly.
The thing is that kind of camp and kitsch is exactly where I think it needs to end, right?
Yeah.
That's where I think we need to get to. But what I really loved about the national final performance is we started somewhere else, you know, because the whole first verse of this song is about, you know, saying, oh, people will tell you to be a certain way, act a certain way, and all the rest. And in the national final performance, that was shown because she was wearing that kind of Sound of Music traditional dress, which also works well for your sort of, you know, your Austria, Switzerland kind of area of the world. So it would have been a nice cultural reference. Then she becomes the diva during the song, right? She throws the shackles off during the song. That was part of the appeal for me. And it was a shame that we didn't see that on stage because I think it changes the narrative of the performance and I think makes it less accessible to a casual viewer.
Yeah.
Because I think people can relate a lot more to, well, people are going to tell me to be a certain way, but I don't care. And then you throw off the shackles of that rather than, you know, because if you're just doing the kind of I'm a diva thing, well, Spain is doing that, for example. Yeah. There are other countries doing that. It was just a slightly more unique narrative. Thank you for the super chats. I can see them coming in and I am going to come back to them. But we're going to talk a little bit more about Malta first because they're about some other songs too, but I really appreciate the support. The vocal. There were bits I thought was really good. So it may be that there are some nerves in here. You can tell that over the last few months, there's like the way you can tell that her like breath control and the way she's been looking after her voice in the last few months is exceptional. You can tell that she's improved as a vocalist as well because it was way more powerful at its best than the national final. But at the same time, there were some bits where maybe I was thinking, ooh, is it just leaning off a little bit? Did you feel it was maybe a little uncontrolled, which could be a product of overexcitement?
I think it's honestly like overexcitement. Like you can clearly tell that like the past 2-3 months she has been training her voice very, very intensely because her control is much better than in the national final. Honestly, I cannot believe that you got that idea with the shackles and everything from the national final performance.
Really?
That to me is insane.
It's just, it's this the thing, they
It's
tear the
so
cord.
insane.
You know, she says serving cunt and the costume basically explodes off her. Like, it was such a perfect moment because it was...
I disagree.
It merged the shock moment of the song that it had at that time with the, I am now throwing this all off, screw you all, poof. And I loved that. It made it more punchy, in my opinion. And then I remember they had this... she had that brilliant on the first chorus where she did that and then she sort of strutted forward on the stage.
Yeah.
And it was this kind of like, okay, right, now we're going. They had this turning prop. It would have been really nice if they'd maybe done a different, like done the sort of more, a deliberately kind of, you know, stereotypically conservative outfit over the top for that first verse with her facing the other way around. And then there's a little transition as the chorus starts and maybe we turn around so we're looking at the disco ball and it starts flashing or something. And then as she says, you know, I do it all the time, serving, it spins round to reveal a new outfit. Yeah. That could have been, it would have been such a cool dramatic moment. That's what I would have wished for this thing. By the way, Jay has sent me the Latvian reaction video. So when we talk about Latvia, we will get to it. Just quickly, I'm going to go through the super chats because I do want to thank you all for your support. And then we will move on to the next song. Anne-Mary says, so happy for Lithuania going through. Glad I'm not the only one who thinks the song is a masterpiece. Let's go there next, actually. Yeah. And then after that, we'll talk about another NQ. Mm-hmm. Now we've seen all the performances. The only one that gave winner vibes was Finland, but the producers favouring France and Sweden and Switzerland. I think all four of those. We will discuss that at the end, I think. Once we've gone through the grand final, I think we will... It's time to start calling winners. I think we have all the information we are going to get now. There's nothing more we learn today other than if someone hits a bomb note in the jury show. Camera angles won't change. For the most part, the voices are going to be similar. Thank you for doing these live streams, says Silver. Do you think all the non-qualifiers will support the others in the final tomorrow night? Yes, and actually they do get tickets reserved. So the EBU puts a certain number of tickets aside that it gives to the delegations and the artists who didn't qualify. And so it's offered to them. And I know, for example, there are some artists who are staying. Red Sebastian is still in Basel. Marco Bosniak is still in Basel, and so will be at the final to support his friends. You know, it is a bit of a sort of, it's a very like community kind of vibe. And I guess in some ways, there's an interesting discussion point here for you, Gotham, because this is your first year at the contest. It's kind of really weirdly like close and friendly in a lovely way, but it kind of catches you off guard. It also, what I found when I started making YouTube videos and then I started meeting artists at the contest in person, I started going, oh, because you start running back every single thing you've ever said in a video, right?
Yeah. Yesterday with fucking Iceland.
That was so funny. If you guys get a chance, go back and watch the 30-minute live stream we did, the section at the start of the live stream yesterday afternoon with Vibe, where we sat Gotham down next to them and then showed the tweet where he said they weren't going to qualify. But yes, thank you so much, Silver. Gem Shine says, out of the campy songs, Malta felt the weakest. I think Sweden and Finland were stronger concepts stage-wise. Yes, both stronger concepts. I think Finland is the one that encroaches on this one's territory the most. It's like I said, the one that's kind of giving that slightly, it's a bit cheeky in its delivery, right? Yeah. But we will get to Erica Vickman. Clickbait died for nothing, says Simon98. We'll talk about Montenegro after Lithuania. Now, all of you can put your apology letters in chat. I told you it was qualifying. I was 100% certain all along it was qualifying. Lo and behold, it qualifies. And it wasn't just because they had a really great draw with Diaspora. I think this one was comfortable. Oh, yeah. They've heard me talk about this plenty. Godham, why don't you talk about why you love this song?
Okay, first of all, it's post-punk. And in my video on Lithuania and the Baltics, I said that we have never gotten post-punk at Eurovision. It's not the post-punk I'm used to, but you can still tell it's post-punk. And it's done in a very Eastern European way. And I'm so glad we have that this year because it's my favorite genre of all time. Mm-hmm. The performance was flawless. I honestly think with Finland, Lithuania was the best performance of the night. They managed, because like at Eurovision.lt, it was already very good with the camera cuts and everything. I'm so glad they kept the concept and just like made it feel more grand.
Yeah.
It's so amazing. So amazing. Honestly, like potentially some of the entry with the best camera shots out of the entire lineup.
Yeah, I do actually want to really highlight some of this, and we're going to show you, because as I experimented yesterday by showing some of the bits of Iceland, we are able to show you some of the actual performances from last night and point out some things that we really loved without the whole stream getting completely kablammed. So I'm going to do that because there's a couple of things that I really, really loved about this.
Yeah.
We're going to start with I think one key thing, that the section with the sort of tavo, 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 it's repeated and repeated and repeated. And the way it's introduced is really beautiful. First, just before you have, this is one of my favorite camera shots of the entire year. Yeah, the way he looks into this camera, it's so perfect. His expression, this kind of, there's that joke has been going on the whole season, is the kind of sadness in his eyes that you only see in Eastern European gay porn. The classic tweet, which is now about 15 years old, by the way. That tweet is almost old enough to drink. Where I'm from, in Newcastle, everyone starts drinking well before they're 15, so it already would be. This whole shot is just totally spellbinding. I remember watching it on TV, and it was one of the wow moments of the night for me. And it's just, it's so intense.
Absolutely, yeah. Love it.
And then, of course, we have this.
Yeah, brilliant.
I mean, whoever designed this, it's just it's sublime. It's utterly sublime. And I think it's so special because it makes it even more intense. I also look at the mountains in the back there. Sorry, I know I'm just monologuing how much I love this now. The mountains, I mean, they work perfectly for this. They look 3D. Yeah. They look like they're extending out into the arena.
Yeah.
We'll talk about Greece later, where I was like, I want them to use augmented reality. I want to bring that sort of sea out into the arena. It felt like they had done this with this because it was so
phenomenal.
So phenomenal. I do want to say, by the way, and you guys should all go and read this later, over on ESC Insight, Godham was in fact a guest contributor this week, writing about post-punk, writing about this and also about Deka Energetic from the Ukrainian... Okay, close enough. From the Ukrainian national final... and elsewhere. Rika says, Lithuania was perfection last night and I wasn't really a fan before the semi-final. Firstly, thank you so much for the support. Secondly, I think there's going to be a lot of people in that boat. So, I think a lot of people thought I was very silly for saying this could win. I still think that's probably fair enough. But top 10.
I can see it. I really can see it because we don't have a lot of proper like rock songs. And shockingly enough, a lot of rock fans watch Eurovision. This is going to be their favorite entry. They're gonna see what they want to see in this package, and they're gonna pick up the phone and vote for it. Plus, the diaspora will get behind it. I don't think they qualified purely because of diaspora.
Oh no, they qualified easily in my opinion.
Absolutely. I think it's just the best like rock entry out of the entire year, and it's so heavy hitting. And people who like that type of stuff, they're gonna vote for this, hands down. I can see a top 10. I really can.
I'm really excited for this, and I think his voice is also, people maybe are underestimating the jury potential of this.
Oh yeah.
Because his voice is one of the best in this year's competition. The criteria of the juries, let's not forget, is the quality of the vocal, uniqueness of the composition. There's nothing like this, and there hasn't been much like this in Eurovision.
It just sounds revolutionary. Like, you can tell that like this is a very unique package. And juries, as much as like we think they're gonna like always vote for a ballad, that's not the case.
No.
I think like the entire criteria is met here, and juries always like try to find that one entry that like just sounds different and it's good, but like I really think this can be top 10 with the juries. I really can see that universe.
And if it goes top 10 with both, just because of the idiosyncrasies of the system, you come top 10 with both juries and televote, you're probably going to end up higher than 10th.
Yeah.
Because the likelihood of others, not many songs will be in that position.
Yeah.
IAS says, Povilas Varvuolis, the stage director for Catharsis and all ESC songs between 2017 to 2024 and the national final, knows how to make a spectacle, and I'm glad LRT sees that in him. I mean, this is the thing. And it's a team game at Eurovision. Lithuania is really good at minimalist but mysterious and captivating stagings.
Yeah.
And also finding the concept early. I mean, the last 2 years, Luktelk, they found that concept early. It was already there at the national final. The use of color again, which is really clever here with that sort of the blue flashing light. It's almost like thunder and lightning.
Yeah.
We might come back to Lithuania in a bit, but we've now talked about 2 qualifiers, 3 qualifiers in fact, and 1 non-qualifier. No, it was 2 qualifiers actually. Let's talk about a non-qualifier, and then after that we're going to talk about Latvia, because I think people want to see that. We'll start with Montenegro. Now, there was obviously, the voice crack aside, apparently I didn't hear it myself.
She voice cracked?
There was a voice crack. It might have been in the jury rehearsal actually. Her voice is so beautiful, but the song, unfortunately, it's a beautiful platform for her to show her vocals. It would be a great theme tune for a dramatic, TV show or something. But I just don't think this worked on stage.
Yeah.
I don't know about the costume. I mean, there's been a lot of words about this. People have said, well, she'd be very safe in a car crash because she's already got her airbag.
This is Vladana's fault. This is absolutely Vladana's fault.
Oh, really?
Only her stupid ass would ever come up with something like this. To look at this and tell me that it does not.
It is the same as Vladana's.
It
is the same as Vladana's. I'm not sure what the concept was. Like, there was probably, they're trying to portray her as something.
As a cushion.
But I don't, as a Christian, did you
as
say?
a cushion.
As a cushion. I thought you said as a Christian. And I was like, that would be an interesting angle for Eurovision. It just looks like she's changing a duvet, but can't find the corners. Oh dear. Yeah, she did have some voice cracks. She found it difficult, and it's a shame because she's such a great vocalist. I just think, the creative concept on stage didn't really work. I think they kept the blindfold idea, and it was never well elaborated.
No.
Like, it was one of these things that sometimes you see something on a Eurovision stage and think, why is that there? And it's never explained. Yeah. And so you had all these different things going on. You have this costume, you have the blindfold, you have the sword descending from the sky and everything.
It has good elements, but it does not feel cohesive in a way. Like, honestly, what you said, it feels like a soundtrack to like a dramatic movie.
Yeah.
I think they should have leaned into that like James Bond, like dramatic aspect of it. Because to me, it doesn't feel like unique. There's nothing revolutionary. They could have really done something if they leaned into to the dramatic element of it. Now she's looking like a pillow, there is a sword for some reason in the background. There are lights, and that's about it. Like,
At the same time, I would say Montenegro it doesn't have institutional knowledge is important, and it was a domestic production, domestic stage direction, and everything, which means they're essentially starting from scratch because they don't have good frames of reference previously. Because their last success was several years ago, and they've never really, their best result was like 12th. They've been in the final a tiny handful of times, so it was always going to be tough. I think they'll stick around because the Montesong project feels like a bit of a labor of love for the people involved. And if Montesong happens again, then
I don't think it will.
Eurovision will happen again. I think it will because it was backed by the musicians union in Montenegro and stuff.
I don't see.
If the institutional backing sticks and they generally seemed pretty happy with it, then they'll stick around. I think they might give it one more year. Yeah, it wasn't great, but again, it's the thing is it's the kind of show that if, say, Norway had done it, I'd be like, what is this? Yeah. But I'm willing to give a lot more leeway to broadcasters with low budgets and broadcasters who are doing things for the first time or being ambitious. Because being ambitious, I appreciate that. I'd rather you did too much and things went wrong than did too little. And I look at it and I'm like, well, you executed nothing to perfection.
Yeah.
Let's talk about... This is going to be an emotional moment for our Gotham, I think. We all thought it was over. I think that was what made it so emotional. When Denmark and Armenia had come out of that hat, Latvia. I mean, it was stunning, visually, vocally. Yeah, beautiful.
Best staging out of the entire year. I'm gonna call it now. Like, it's just so brilliant. There isn't a single flaw in this performance. Like, I can really not pinpoint a single thing that I don't like about this, which is strange because I usually find at least one thing to hate on. But this is brilliant. From the costumes to the staging to the lighting to their vocals to the song in general, it's just brilliant. And I'm so glad that Europe saw the uniqueness of it and saw how much of a good performance and a good song it is. I'm so glad my girls made it to the final. I'm gonna see if we have. I don't know where Jay has sent it. I presume he sent it to me and not to you. It wouldn't be much use if he sent it to you. Maybe it's on Discord or something. I really, really want to show you guys our dear Gotham's. I accidentally just opened Microsoft Teams. No, I do not wish to go back to my office right now. I really wish to show you the extent of Gotham's. Okay, we've got it. Perfect. So I hope you're ready for this. This is how emotional. Poor Gollum, look at him. Almost crying already with his Latvian flag. By the way, this is like an action shot. Jay, pure focus in the corner. You're about to cry. Look at me. I've got my hands on the table. I'm like... Let's have a look at this. Is the sound on? Yeah. It's safe to say we were pretty happy. Jesus Christ. The lamp.
And then what you can't hear right now, what I'm hearing in my ear right at that moment is Gollum like... He was so convinced. I didn't notice. Why is it that every single one of our reactions to anything has some kind of lamp gag? Because the other day...
I saw it
when Portugal qualified, you had the lamp falling in here. Let's see that again. Wait for it. Boing. Oh dear. By the way, I love how our friends, we have Adam here who just doesn't like Latvia at all. He's just totally unemotional, doesn't care. He turns around. I think he'd had about 7 wines at this point, to be fair.
Oh yeah.
And he's just like, nope, not interested. So that shows the spectrum of reactions. Yeah. I agree with a lot about what you said. I think as well, I mean, I loved the concept of the national final. It was my favourite of the national final. Yeah. I was really glad when it won. At the same time, it shows that it's always worth, even if you're onto something good, it's always worth iterating on it. It's always worth thinking, okay, what about this? But in a slightly different perspective. They made it was darker. It was more mysterious.
And I honestly prefer that. I prefer... the image they're going for in the actual contest with they look like sirens right now. They kind of leaned into that aspect. They look like nymphs in Latvia. Now they just it gives us that like dark, like siren energy, and I love it. I honestly prefer these like costumes they have for the actual contest 10 times more than the ones they had for in Latvia.
Definitely, no, I completely agree. I'm gonna get the. I'm trying to find the performance now because there was a moment that I thought was really really cool because again it made them feel sort of like at one with nature, and part of the point was because you got to remember, right, that if there's one thing that unites the Baltics, it's that there's tons of forests. There's just forests everywhere. And if you speak to anyone from the Baltic states, they love their forests.
Yeah.
We have one of my friends in Estonia. We were looking for things to do on a day out because we had a spare day last time I was there, and she was like, "Why don't we go to a bog?" So like they are really into nature in the Baltics. So let's have a little look at this because this in the bridge I thought it's my favourite part of the entire performance, the way this builds up, and I'm going to show you it on screen now. You know, the way they kind of emerge like this.
Yeah.
And it literally, you know, it's such a powerful, they come through and the dancing. I love, my favourite bit is this, the tails.
Oh yeah, brilliant.
And like I said, it makes them feel sort of slightly animalistic, slightly alien, and it's wonderful. It makes you feel like you're being charmed by like sort of ethereal, otherworldly beings.
Absolutely.
And obviously this shot.
Everything. This is just like so cinematic. Like you can like screenshot like any part of the performance and it will look breathtaking.
Yep.
Incredible.
I got to give a shout out to the final shot of this as well. If we just go forward slightly, this cinema, that is pure cinema. That is beautiful, so well designed and choreographed, and it's things right down to, like, I bet when they were considering how they designed the nails and the implements in their hands, they were like, how can we make that final shot more impactful? They look like branches of a tree.
They do.
The entire thing looks like a sort of, you know, a thick trunk branching out. It's stunning. The amount of imagery here, I could rant. Sorry, I'm just really excited.
No, I completely get it. Like, honestly, it's just, I'm so glad. The thing is, like, when Denmark also made it to the final, because I expected Romania. I really did not expect Denmark, and we'll probably get into it a bit later. But I just thought it was over. I just really thought it was over. I was like, oh, they didn't get it. The audience didn't get it. Like, they probably thought it was weird. Nobody voted for this. They did. It came across so well, and I'm just so glad, like, we finally have like a proper Baltic cultural entry in the final, and this definitely deserves a place in the final. Definitely.
So you mentioned Armenia. That's where we're going to go next. Very quickly, you're going to get about a 20-second break because I've noticed a very tiny technical problem on my end that I'm going to very quickly fix. Literally count to 20 and we will be back again. We're back. See, that was even quicker. That was like 12 seconds. So we're back and we're going to talk next about Armenia. Now, this didn't feel like much of a shock, to be honest, having actually seen it. I find it very difficult to talk about this seriously because of everything else that's happened. It was really cinematic. It was good they didn't have this effect on for the whole time, but I have to say, in terms of lighting and camera work, it was among the best of the night.
Sadly, yeah.
You hate to see it, huh?
I hate this so much. The worst part is, we all thought it was going to qualify. It was not a surprise. The worst part is we all genuinely thought that this was going to make it, and it did. I am so pissed off. I'm so pissed off.
Well, we all sort of came into it thinking, okay, if the rehearsal clip is an indicator, then it might do. And then we saw it and we were like, well, that's obvious. Yeah. Like, it felt really, really obvious once we'd seen it. And it's, you know, it's a very different kind of rockish vibe to Lithuania.
Is it even rock?
I would describe it as rock in the same way like Imagine Dragons can be tangentially just about described as rock in some circumstances. And I think Imagine Dragons is kind of the thing here. Obviously, I had, and you were there for many of these interactions, people constantly coming up to me at Euro Club last night and being like, wow, you qualified, congratulations. And like, this was basically everyone I knew who like would see, whenever I went up to say hello to someone, I would see them smiling from a distance and I knew already what they were about to say. And also a lot of, just a lot of fans and stuff. And I will say to all of you who I've seen in Euro Club this week, thank you so much for your kind words. I wasn't at all surprised, says Alekin, about Armenia twice. Oh, it's not a list. Okay. Armenia and possibly San Marino are the alpha male / bro vote magnets. Is there an alpha male / bro vote in Eurovision?
I don't think so. I don't know who the target audience for this is, but I don't think it's like the bros and like, I think it's definitely like the only people that could ever vote for this are straight men. And maybe that's it. But it's not that kind of red pill. San Marino I completely disagree with. I just like think like it got across and people were having a buzz watching it. But I really don't know. Like I cannot picture like a gay person voting for Armenia. I really can't. Or a woman.
What a line. So that IAS says Garg moment. Thank you for the donation. Indeed, at this point, I'm just embracing it. Like I tweeted when Armenia qualified. I just tweeted, I did it. I think at a certain point, because once I saw the photo of us together, I will say, this is the thing as well. Every single thing that happens, it makes like the joke more prevalent, because first I didn't think we looked that much like each other, and people weren't that into it before the contest. But then, and apparently Ed Alive says I'm confirmed as an alpha male bro. I think we can all agree I'm extremely alpha. Then we actually met each other, and once I remember we took the photo, and then I looked at it and I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, we really do look like each other. Because then the entire comments was full of people just being like, oh, I didn't see it before, but now I do. So it's made it 100 times worse.
Do you remember last night in the Irish pub, like the owner, the Armenian guy, you asked him, do I look Armenian? He was like, yeah. And you might be Armenian. I think you need to do like an ancestry test.
Yeah, I think so, because every Armenian person who I've met and asked this, they've been like, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Like, it was like we said yesterday, Parg and his wife, when we met them, basically did a full analysis of my facial features, explaining to me why every single element of it made me look Armenian.
You do look Armenian.
Gabik Milnian is alive and well, says Leo. And someone says, is this vibe? Yes.
Yeah.
We are vibe. Someone said, I think Nora Talley just before said, can I draw you guys with your consent, of course? Yeah,
absolutely.
That sounds fun. Send it to us and I'll show it on the stream later, tomorrow, whenever. That sounds really cool. So, the Azeri in the Russian store was right all along. Yeah.
I love that story.
It's such a stupid
My favorite
story.
gay lore.
Armenia has the boyfriends who lost the remote vote.
Yeah, I agree.
It's very specific. D.O. says, I have never had more vote_ads than for Armenia yesterday on TikTok.
Really?
2, his aura and energy is so positive and infectious. Yeah, his label really got on board with him.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Thank you so much for the support, Jay and D.O. I do think this is the thing. It was well staged. His aura was good on stage. It was convincing. That's how you can take a song with such silly lyrics, make everyone completely forget about it. The fact that he's singing, I'm a survivor, stay alive.
Yeah.
Do or die in my prime, I'm a fighter.
I cannot wait for my video on the lyricism for this year, because this is going to be slandered to death.
It's going to be the angriest video you've ever made.
Absolutely.
All right, let's stay in the A's. I'm just looking through at what we should talk about next. It's like a menu of options of varying quality. Let's talk about Austria. I think we should sprinkle the sort of potential contenders for victory ahead of the show throughout the video. And here's as good a place as any. Obviously, this is the opening shot, and I'll show some more from later in the performance after this. Did you think we were watching a potential winner when you saw this last night?
No.
I agree.
No.
I agree.
And the thing is, like, I've never been a fan of this song, but I always try to be objective. This just doesn't read winner. Like, it doesn't come across as a winning performance, and I'm so sorry. And I don't know what about it doesn't work. And because it should work on theory with the descriptions and everything, with the clips. This should have been like the performance of the night. We should have all been standing there being like, "Yep, Austria has got it," and that just never happened. Never happened.
And I want to look at as well the way they did the last kind of minute song, because there was a lot of imagery that I thought was really amazing. But in some ways, I just was hoping for a little more. So this is in the lead up. This is when the breakdown is about to start. You've had the sort of paper boat the entire time. He throws it away. And then we go into the last bit. And like the fast camera shots and everything, this is really cool. But because he's not singing in this bit, I don't know. I found it a little
disjointed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've been thinking about this the whole season. We've been talking about the fact that the chopped vocals you can do that live. You can make it so that that they'll chop your vocals live for you. And you saw, for example, Erica Vickman had effects. I will say it's a stunning final shot.
Oh, absolutely. No, I think like the entire staging is so well done. It's so cinematic again, but it just doesn't feel like a winner. It doesn't feel like a winner. And I suspect it's because of like the last 30 seconds. As you said, it just feels disjointed. Like because if it was a dance song and let's say he was dancing and we had that chopped vocal, it would work. But he's not doing much, and just you're kind of confused. Why is that happening right now?
The other thing is, when you get nervous performances, and for those of you who want an example of this, let's take Kyle Alessandro. Kyle Alessandro gave a pretty nervous vocal throughout the song. Then he got to the big note and he nailed it. Yeah. Because when you're nervous, for those of you who've done karaoke, you might have experienced this. In your lower register, the nerves show much more heavily. The lower you go down into the register, the shakier your voice gets, the harder it becomes to hold your pitch and everything. In JJ's lower register, there was really clear nerves. Oh, yeah. You could I mean, it's good to have them now and not in the final. It could be that it's a lot better and it completely changes our opinion on it. I'm not convinced. But you could tell in that lower register, when he got up into the choruses, it felt much better. And obviously with the big notes at the end. But in those verses, it just didn't quite feel right. Jay says, "Hi, Pog, I'm a big fan, and I'm so happy you qualified." And Sundrop Center says, "Pog gets my award for Biggest Global 2025. Can't believe you qualified. The Televote marketing campaign really turned you into a stay aliver," says Ollie, not pro. We're going to talk about Televote marketing campaigns later because there was 3 I have in mind. All of the big ones were in this semi-final. Yeah. When we come to, we've talked about 2 of the countries already. We'll briefly touch on the final one in a bit, and we'll talk about that at that point, since we're not really going to analyze that song that much. Julie Giesel says, and thank you so much for the 50 Czech crowns, "Austria with this song and this staging gives me a pretentious manufactured feeling." Pretentious, no. Manufactured, yes.
Yeah, absolutely manufactured.
I don't think it's pretentious because JJ is a very sympathetic character.
It's not pretentious. It's just like, it feels formulaic in a way. Like it tries to be different, but it feels so formulaic. You can just tell that at the, like, what was it called? Like the songwriting camps. They went there with the pure intention of writing a Eurovision winning song. And it tries to be that, but it feels shallow. Go over and check the lyrics. They're not emotional, they're not raw. I don't feel that sincerity we have with some other entries. It just feels manufactured. I completely agree with that person.
So yeah, at the moment, I mean, you guys will hear more of my thoughts about this later. I feel like this one is not necessarily in the race to win this thing. Oh yeah. I think there were 2 other songs which I felt had done more. Right, we're going to get this one out of the way because I think this was another absolute certain non-qualifier. There was about 5 staging concepts in this. You had, I'm going to get the full video actually up so we can go through just how much was going on here, because it feels like they didn't have any coherent idea of what they wanted to do with this song, either musically or in terms of the staging. So this is Georgia. So a few things. You have these sort of dances, and at the start you're in a 5/4 time signature, and this, the staging is dark, it's foreboding, but she's just stood there, Yeah. I don't really get what's going on here.
With that horrendous dress.
Yeah. It's a horrible dress. It's really, we talked about this the other day. Crime. It's just,
Crime. Humanity.
The dancing, I will say, obviously, like the traditional dancing of the Caucasus can be really, really effective.
It just didn't work here.
It didn't work here. And actually, if you want to see my favorite example of this is actually Armenian. There's an Armenian song called Yar Khushta by a guy called Sevak Amroyan. and it's so great. And the Yarkushta is sort of an iconic Armenian dance. So Caucasian dancing is really distinctive, and because Caucasia is slightly culturally disconnected from the rest of the contest, it's a really effective mechanism. Hello, Danda. But when everything else is wrong, then,
Too much. It's just too much.
Yeah.
Like, it feels so dispersed. It feels so chaotic. Like, you just watch this and think to yourself, what is the song about?
New concept. Now we have flags, the lighting has changed, everything's different. You've got it looks a bit like the Don's ring on the back on the back there. And the further you go, it just, you have this kind of awkward costume change as well, which is on camera. I really don't think this was the way to do it, where she's sort of pulling this off like this. I guess they wanted it to be an actual feature, but it just looks messy. I mean, you see the mic pack on her back. Yeah. So and I will say, I mean, this is maybe partly the production's fault. It's shot in a way that is really shoddy.
Yeah, awful camera angles. She looks crazy as hell in this outfit. This outfit is ridiculous.
I don't know what they were doing here. I mean, everyone's been comparing it. Even she compared it to the Milkshake Man, which I think
tragic. Like, how does this outfit go with this song? She looks like a circus performer in this.
Yeah, I think it's a misuse. And I mean, we've talked before about all the different elements of Georgia's participation this year and how it is maybe, how there's more to it than what you see. There was clear sort of leaning on the process, influence from other places in the broadcaster. So what you had is a really unfortunate and difficult domestic backdrop for Georgians who are, pushing back against the government, their government taking them in a very different direction. To the one they want to go in. You have a singer who, under normal circumstances, if it was last year, because Nutsa and her have very similar views and so on, under normal circumstances, probably wouldn't have been a problem for her to be in this competition. So it was at the worst possible time for her, with a song that didn't suit her. She has a great voice, and in another year she could have done really well.
She's an amazing vocalist.
What a waste. What a waste. And the creative direction, she was let down. The production, she was let down. The song, she was let down. She did not need to be in this position, and she was misused by external factors, external people. Out of all of this, I do kind of find myself feeling a little bit sorry for her on a personal level.
Yeah. And also, I'm very sad that, this is the only time Georgia actually went for, trying to introduce, aspects of its culture into entries, because this is awfully done. I think they should stick with trying to make things more authentic and more Georgian in a way, because the dancers here don't work, and the only part of the song I really can kind of enjoy is the chanting and the Georgian language and all of that. I really wish they lean into that aspect, because this is just nothing.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Missed opportunity, truly.
Massively. Dylan says, a moment of, beg your pardon, silence for Australia, Czechia, Belgium. Also, I agree with Austria. Yeah, I think we can agree with those. We're going to talk about Czechia in a minute. But because we have less non-qualifiers than qualifiers, we'll talk about a couple more qualifiers, and then we'll come to the next thank you. Ollie Not Pro says, can we just appreciate the fact that Parg and Benjamin Bratt are on a single sofa together? What a collaboration. Well, I personally thought your song in the German national selection was awful.
I think so as well.
So we're going to move on to the next song. You know what? It's time to give her flowers. Let's have a little talk about Denmark. Sometimes you just got to hold your hands up and be like, you were wrong. I completely lost hope in this week, and I think it was her best performance. Yeah. Her vocal clearly recovered. She sounded great. The song was actually a really nice tonic to what was around it. Yeah. Sometimes you just need a reliable, well-trodden concept executed well. I talked about Hera Björk as the example of this. Mm-hmm. That song, Je ne sais quoi, was nothing new in 2010, but she vocally blew it out the park. It was fun. It got the arena movement. Mark. Did I say? Oh. To be honest, it's easy to say in retrospect. I'm surprised, but I also get it.
I don't.
Really? Did you think it was?
I'm shocked. I never thought that there was a path to qualification with this, and making it is still shocking to me. Mm-hmm. And I said it, and I will keep saying it. This song is just screaming 12th place in the semifinal. And I hate to say it because I love her to bits. She's probably my favorite participant this year. But the song is just I don't think Burger, in my opinion. And I don't, was the performance, I think it's her charisma that make her qualify, and her vocals, because the staging is not great, the song is nothing special, and
Yeah, I will say, even though Denmark will obviously be really proud about this, the creative direction and the stuff that the broadcaster is doing is clearly still not right, because you should not be in a position where your artist at the end of the national final jumps on TikTok and goes, I hated every aspect of my staging.
Yeah.
Like, so there's clearly a problem with DR's creative team here, but she delivered
she did, yeah.
in the way that she needed to. And like when you compare it to the songs that I think we're working under the assumption of borderline, I mean, we'll talk about Czechia in a little bit, but you know, Czechia is one of them. Obviously Australia we explained with the kind of, you know, there's a few different things that could have gone on there. It's more engaging on screen than Czechia.
It is.
That was the issue that Czechia had. I mean, let's talk about it now. We're on the subject anyway.
My husband.
And he sat on this very couch, and you know, I felt really emotionally invested in this, and I love this delegation so much because they have so little resources, and they still produce a good package. I did still enjoy this, and I like the song a lot.
I'm devastated. I'm truly devastated, and not only because like I would do unspeakable things to this man, but like he just really wanted to do this, and you can tell he was so enthusiastic, and he had this team of people that were so enthusiastic about everything. They wanted to be there so bad.
Yeah.
And it not working is heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Heartbreaking.
I do find it funny, by the way, that it was like Adonis sort of caught you out thirsting over him and then basically messaged you laughing at you.
Yeah.
He thought it was hilarious, which was my second favourite. Got him, you know, sort of has a
Vibe being first.
Yes, Vibe being first. Sort of got him has an exposed moment with an artist.
Yeah,
it's one of those things is that the artists, they see everything. I now work on the assumption when I'm on streams, when I'm in videos, everything I say is going to be seen by the person I'm talking about.
Adonis, if you're watching this, please marry me. You have free time now. We can arrange a wedding.
It's kind of, you know, that old meme which is like, Adonis, I'm free on Thursday if you have free time on Thursday.
That has been me for the past 3 months.
Yeah, no, I think this is the thing is I did actually think part of the captivating factor of this song would be that he's visually striking. You know, he's the sort of tall, dark, and handsome archetype. It's a brooding kind of song. This is the kind of archetype that we've seen work really well. There was also a little hiccup on the live performance.
Really?
Did you not notice he missed a cue?
Yeah, I remember.
I think we can get a video of this quickly, so I'm going to try and find it for you guys now. But yeah, sorry, what did you think of this?
No, you turned around to me and you were like, oh, that's how I noticed it. And then you immediately said, oh, like the casual viewer is not going to notice that. They're going to think it's not intentional. Mm-hmm. And I agree. I don't think like this hiccup costed like the qualification of Czechia.
I'm just scrolling through the Eurovision RTVE page on Twitter because I know they actually posted a 20-second clip of this song that included this little moment. Here we are. Okay, we don't need Spanish subtitles. So we're going to play this for you now. Just quickly before I do, Rika says, it's definitely Sissal, her voice and how she connects to the audience through the camera. Completely agree. Orion's Park as well, £5 donation. Thank you so much to all of you. Mikusi I says, who is the person next to you, Gabe? It's ESC Gotten. Well, you should do a self promo in a minute. Let's look at this first. So what you'll see is that he rushes because he realizes he's behind.
Oh yeah.
It's the sort of thing that is unlikely to come across in the moment, or it's something that's fast enough that if you're a casual viewer who hasn't heard the song, you might go, and then you've moved on. It's too quick. What was it that took this away? Because I felt, even though in the last 48 hours there was a shift in the narrative, I think people started worrying a lot. It dropped a lot. It dropped out of the top 10 in the model as well, which we talked a lot about on stream. It felt to me still that we were safe-ish.
Oh no! As soon as I saw like the jury show on Wednesday, I was like, yeah, it's over. And the thing is, it's like kind of the same situation as we had like in semi one with like Red Sebastian. People like the song, people don't love the song, and as you said, people are gonna be picking up their phones for 1 max 2 songs, and it doesn't matter if you enjoy 10, they're gonna pick up the phone for two, for the 2 songs, or maybe even one that was their favorite. And I think people like this, people didn't love it, and that's why I didn't qualify. This should have done so much more with the staging. It felt so bland in a way, which is shocking. His outfit horrendous. This man, for the entirety of the Eurovision like pre-party season and everything, he has not turned out in like any place with a bad outfit. Every single time I've seen this man, amazing styling. What possessed the Czech delegation to put him in this outfit? I will never understand.
I will say there were some of the outfits from the pre-party that I preferred. At the same time, I understand the sort of black-white vibe that they were going for, and the way it was almost like he had this weight on him that was lifted. I'm trying to put myself in their shoes here, and I think, you know, there is it could have done with something different. I think it also didn't help that you have so much black, white, and red that if you're in that color palette, it can make things a little difficult.
It just, when it comes to staging, there was so much potential, and it ended with like the concept of the staging. I fear like they could have done so much more with this entry. Like I can just even right now picture myself, okay, what would I have done in terms of staging? It would have looked nothing like this. Nothing.
So we're going to keep going. I think a good place to go from here, because someone in chat mentioned that people gravitated towards other ballads.
Yeah. But is this a ballad? That's the thing about it. It's not a ballad.
It's ballad adjacent, and there was a lot of ballad adjacent songs. We obviously talked about Austria, which is also ballad or ballad adjacent. Greece, I mean, it's more sort of, it leans into, it's still that kind of sad, slightly slower, more reflective vibe.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a fair place to go next. I will say, when we got down to the 10th qualifier spot, I thought this one was done.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And I think this is again a case. We saw this in semi-final 1. The staging, in my opinion, is not that great. Her vocal, and I have to say, especially last night, I thought it was her best vocal performance of the entire season. She was stunning. And I think when your voice is that good, sometimes you can just kind of leave it at that. Like, you know, they call it it's a staging concept that's referred to as park and bark, which is when you have a vocalist who's maybe not able to move around and sort of hit a lot of different marks and dance and so on while singing. But if you put them on stage and let them sing, they will do amazingly. We do get at least one park and bark in the final every year, and this was it. You know
I'm not shocked, because like this is such a, like this song. When I immediately heard it, like when it got revealed, I was like, yep, a casual viewer will absolutely love this, because she has great vocals. It's kind of emotional, but then that beat kicks in. It's such like a mainstream type of beat, in my opinion. So I'm not shocked it made it. My biggest issue with it, and truly, like this year in a way is revolutionary, because from both semifinals, one takeaway we can all like have right now, a little bit of like a reflective moment, is that like if you don't have a good song, you're not gonna qualify, no matter how like impressive the staging is. No matter how bad your staging is, if your song is good, you will still qualify, because the staging here is truly horrific.
I think there's elements of it I like. No. I mean, I not many of them. I agree. No. The thing I really hated how static it was.
I hate the styling, because again, a straight man styled this woman, because how do you age someone that much with just a single hairstyle? She's 20 years old. She's so beautiful. She's a breathtaking girl. They snatch her hair to the point that she looks bald.
It is. I've never understood this. Yeah.
She looks like Trixie Mattel out of drag, and you wouldn't get that, but the child will. She looks like Trixie Mattel out of drag. I hate this styling so much. It's the worst one. Also, the staging, like the graphics and everything, so kitsch, so cheesy, so kitsch. It's just ugly. I'm sorry. Like these graphics.
Yeah, it is a shame.
Are they good? No.
Yeah, I wonder, because there's a lot of different. I think, you know, obviously for this kind of song, it presents its own. When talking about the hair here, it presents its own challenges, because obviously you can't do anything too dramatic, But there's other things. She had something different in the national final, didn't she? She had like it was like a high ponytail that came down over her shoulder or something. Was it the same one?
No, it was just her hair straightened.
Very
What do you mean dramatic? The dramatic part is that she like has her hair down. And
I
you don't think
know,
the birds on stage are the dramatic part? Honestly.
Yeah, I think it's
This is we have like to me it's shocking that Greece put Poland this year with the staging, with the fucking camera effects and everything. This is abysmal. I'm sorry. And I really like the song, don't get me wrong. Great song, great lyrics. Lyrics are beautiful. I love her voice. But the staging is just awful.
But again, like we said, the key message of the year, I'm fairly sure, I keep saying it, it's the song, stupid. People like the song. Yeah. Crystal does raise a fair point. Maybe she's more comfortable in a high ponytail. I don't like it either. There is an element of that. A lot of staging decisions you see, sometimes we read a lot into them when actually it's pure practicality. It's things like the way they staged Cha 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 in 2023 as well. They deliberately at certain points, sort of immobilize him, like he's got that little step. They immobilize him there. Just to give him a chance to breathe because he's running around so much. You need, Miracy says fans overestimate staging and running order. Yeah, that's fair enough. Running order, there's some statistical data to back it up. We'll look at that later when we talk about the grand final running order. But yeah, I just don't think we talked about it all season. The staging was too static. It was still too static. Let's move on to one that I think was a big success story of this semi-final because it was a maybe in, maybe out coming into the contest. Then they arrived, and to be fair, assignment passed, flying colours.
Brilliant. And I don't like the song whatsoever. As I said on Twitter, I will never understand why all gay gays above the age of 30 are in love with this song so much. I just don't get it. But the state, like the I don't even have words. I'm so shocked. They managed to pull this off so well. Last night we all looked at each other and we were like, oh, this is good. It's really good.
Yeah, and it's nice because we were just saying, we felt that the styling was with Adonis and with Claudia wasn't quite right. This was perfect. Yeah, and it solved the song perfectly. Yeah. And I loved the way that the sort of change of outfit. Nora, if you send it to me, if you put it in the art channel on my Discord server, then I can show it. That's just go discord.gg/ESCGabe and you'll be able to access it. It's like this is what happens when styling is done right. The way they pull the first costume away to reveal the new one, it fits perfectly with the message of the song, which is illustrated really well by the fact she's in that, the doll's house. There are some really nice little touches that I want to show everyone as well that I really appreciated. The song grew on me as well, and I think it was partly because her performance last night was really good. Yeah. Again, we said this about Mariana. I'll say it about Laura Thorne. She is someone who very clearly has benefited massively as a performer from this experience because she's so much better than she was at the national final.
She's just like, she owns the stage. And did she do any pre-parties?
I think she did Amsterdam. I can't remember if she did London.
Okay.
She was in London. Yeah, she did London and Amsterdam.
Okay, yeah. She clearly benefited from during the pre-parties. She has gained so much confidence as a performer, and you can really tell.
Yeah, and this is
beautiful.
The fact she's lying on the floor here. I love the touch by the having France Gall in the background.
Yeah. Honestly, I love everything.
This is so cleverly done, and sometimes you just have to appreciate. I still, I don't listen to the song in my free time. I think I like it more than you do. But it's not like one of my favorites, I appreciate it so much more. It's one of those songs where I think I will probably go back just to watch the performance.
Oh yeah, the performance is brilliant.
And again, it was produced by a Ukrainian company apparently, and Laura did an amazing job at execution. Mary, thank you.
Do you think it's the same stage director for Luxembourg from last year? That stage Tali.
I'm not sure because I didn't like Tali's staging all that much last year.
I think it's different. I'm surprised we got a hand in this, however.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
But no, thank you, Anne-Mary, for that £10 donation as well. I really, really appreciate that. Yeah, it's really clever.
Can you actually skip to
the outfit or
no, the part where she sings something along the lines of electroshock and the staging just buzzes. That's my
Oh, yeah.
favorite part of the performance.
It's one of the few who
Yeah.
used the few people
Yeah.
who used the frame correctly.
I was about to say genius use of the frame. Genius.
Oh, is it here?
Yeah.
Was it this one?
No. Wait. Fast forward a bit.
Oh, it goes to the next bit. Okay, we'll
Yeah.
let it run through. See, I don't exactly remember
Here.
this bit.
Here.
Oh wow! Oh yeah, that's brilliant. That is actually brilliant.
Amazing.
Is the thing? It's I love the fact that they used it as a kind of, it's like an old style theatre and so on.
And Laura's world on top. It's just beautiful. The staging is absolutely great.
1 second.
And I'm shocked that I have not a single bad thing to say about this because I hate the song a lot. No, I
Does it make you
dislike
sad?
the song.
You're a professional hater.
I'm a professional hater, but I genuinely. You know what? Maybe the dress. I don't like the initial dress that all that.
Okay, there we go. You found something. Do you feel better now? You found something.
Absolutely.
What I will say is, I am just going to highlight that costume change again. I think I disagree. I think the dress is ideal. It sells the image of the song perfectly. But then we have, this moment and this change. Firstly, really well done to not make it look seamless. And then perfect transition.
Yeah.
She owns this bit so well. And and the charisma she has. I love the shadow effects on the back. Oh,
Brilliant.
I'm just
This is in contention for possibly one of the best stagings of the entire year.
Yeah, I 100% agree. It's right up there for me. So, by the way, someone said Artuska says coming back to Yle's qualification guessing game. So that's in Finland. They have a guessing game you can play on the broadcaster's website. Of 38,000 players, 6 have gotten every guess right across both semis.
Damn.
That's crazy.
We need to contact those.
Yes,
6
we need to
people.
find those 6
Yeah.
people and ask them what it is they know. Mirasu says, "Hi, Godam, my favourite is in the final with an Albanian flag." We will, of course, come to Albania later. They got a great draw. You guys do not want to go anywhere, by the way. We have plenty more to talk about today. We are, of course, going to talk about every single song in the second semi-final. We're talking about how we felt the show went last night and our reaction to it. In addition, after that, we have the grand final running order to look at. Who's been screwed, who's doing very well out of it, and who is somewhere in the middle. If you haven't already, make sure you've subscribed to the channel on YouTube. Make sure you're following on Twitch, because tonight is the big night. Tonight, 50% of the votes will be cast for the grand final when the juries see all of the performances. For that reason, tonight's jury show stream, we're in a better position than we were during the week because you guys all know how the performance looks. What we're going to be focusing on instead tonight is how they're doing on stage. Who sounds perfect vocally? If there's been any small changes since the semi-final, if there are any camera angles that are slightly adjusted, there is only the tiniest amount that they can do between different performances here. It's literally like if there's an actual mistake made, then you'll see differences in the final. So make sure to stick around now. Make sure you're back here later at 8:30, and that's Central European time. I have a video coming out at 8 p.m. as well, which I have not finished editing yet, but it will be finished editing probably a couple of hours in advance. So we'll have our premiere as we always do. Crystal Song asks, are there any actual changes that they can make? The answer is basically no.
No.
If you see something changed in the final, in almost all cases, that's because what happened in either the final or the semi-final is an error.
Yeah.
And they're either correcting an error or making a new one. For example, in 2022, in Turin, there was a camera that was broken the entire show. So there was a bunch of really weird wide shots from an angle that was never meant to be public.
The roof of the arena.
Yeah, like 5 or 6. There was also another shot which was just like a random chair. There was just a camera pointed at a chair. Mary C. Wilson says, congrats, Gabe, Vive made it. Yes, we are thrilled. Not 100% sure yet. They might be back on the stream on Sunday. I'll let you know if so. So we are going to keep moving forward. I'm just looking through at the songs we haven't talked about yet. Let's go to Ireland. Now, Godam, try to restrain yourself because I know you absolutely hate everything about this. I initially thought that the staging was tactically smart because Emmy's not too confident when she's moving around a lot, and it meant that she had less to think about.
Yeah.
In response, I enjoyed it when it was on TV. This is sort of my bit of nice and silly fun. That said, I get the sense that you hate literally everything about this.
Yeah. This song was manufactured in a way that it would piss Gotham the fuck off. I hate this, and I'm so glad. I'm so glad that the two countries I didn't want in the final, Ireland and Cyprus, are not in it. This shouldn't have qualified. The staging is not strategic. It's so stupid. Everything about this is so stupid. I'm so glad I'm finally done with the song. It's out of the competition. I never have to listen, touch it, talk about it ever again. I'm so glad. This was the bottomest of any barrel, as somebody said right now.
Yeah, the most hatred I got at any point, I'm going to show you, the most hatred I got at any point during last night's show, and I stand by this 100%, 100% was this here. I got ratioed for saying I enjoyed Ireland. Look at this, 72 replies. And I will restate what I said here. God forbid I choose to have fun. It was ridiculous. It was totally ridiculous. And it was always totally ridiculous. But you know what? I enjoyed myself. God, I'm so disappointed in me.
I'm so pissed off.
Thank you to the people in chat agreeing with me.
As my icon and my biggest inspiration ever in life, DebanAndramy.blogs.com says, somebody has got to fill the lower rankings. And this is it.
Oh dear, no. But I haven't seen Devon at all in.
I know. I need to find him.
I'm pretty sure he's in Basel. I'd love to meet him.
He is in Basel.
I bumped into the only time I've ever met him. Monica Linkita did like a little gig in a pub in London in 2023, and I bumped into him there. And I told him Finland was going to win Eurovision 2023, and he gave me this look like. And you know what? He was right.
Yeah. I need to find him. I really need to meet him.
So we've got a few more to talk about here. Then we're going to talk about the pre-qualifiers, and then I'm saving Finland until afterwards. I'm not going to play the clip, but Israel, of course, qualified. This is what we expected. A couple of things to note here. Number one, they changed. She can't hit the big note. They changed the vocal line because she can't hit the big note because it cracked in both of the previous rehearsals.
Yeah, she did.
And also, for the most part, it's interesting the different reactions this has gotten in different shows. This song was designed to lose Eurovision. I presume you're talking about Emmy here. Although, to be honest, I don't think New Day Will Rise has much more chance than Emmy does. It's interesting. My Airbnb host messaged me this morning, and he said, I'm so sick of this ad for Israel's performance that keeps coming up every time I try to go on YouTube. Like, the amount of money that they are spending on these adverts is really quite something. But the vocal isn't good. I think, say what you like about... I mean, they shouldn't be in the contest at all, and I think we both agree on that front. It's obviously a worse song than last year's. It's the same now, really tired messaging. People are not receptive. Even people who are more sympathetic to Israel's position than we are, which to be fair is probably most people, are nowhere near as interested in hearing this again as they were last year. And it's, as a result, it'll do worse than it did last year. It's not going to come close to winning the televote, in my opinion. You can see in the amount of views, as on YouTube, in like polls, for example, the Aftonbladet poll, the Israeli song won it by a mile in semi-final 2 last year. It's now, this year, not at all.
It's just dough.
Yeah.
It's so dough. It's like such a dishwater entry. Like, it's bland in all fronts. She cannot sing that well. The song is nothing impressive. The staging is just there. So again, what is with like entries this year and their kitschy ass stagings? Yeah. This is so over the top. This is so
much sparkles. I mean, I'll briefly show. I'm not going to show a moving image, but I'll briefly show just the amount of sparkles that there is of this. Yeah. It's so much.
Too much.
Like there's so much going on here. It's like just such a visual kind of, you know, complete overly done. I think I don't really want to go too deep into this song, so I think we're going to talk about the ethics of ad campaigns more generally because they aren't the only one doing it. All I'm going to say really briefly on this is, you know, obviously I have I have a great deal of sympathy for the awful experience that Yuval Raphael went through. If this helps her deal with that experience, then okay, that's one positive thing that comes of it. In any case, I don't like the song, and I think that Israel shouldn't be in the contest. I've got a full video on this. You can go and watch it if you like. I don't think this won the semi-final.
No.
And all the people who said, I vote for the song, not the country, have discussed how bad this song is versus Hurricane being passable. Hurricane was a much better song.
Yeah.
So, ad campaigns. We talked about Armenia before. Malta has been at it. Yeah. Israel has been at it. Do you think it's an unfair advantage? And do you think there's ways we can regulate it? Because we can't stop it from happening altogether.
The thing is, it's not regulated. But the thing is, like, when you have to go and, like, willingly put advertisement for your entry, that means it cannot stand on its own. And for Malta specifically, they have been doing that for ages now. Didn't help them in 2019. I remember that vividly because they were promoting the shit out of Chameleon, and it didn't work with the telebot whatsoever.
Same with Destiny. She got, what, 56 or something, 58 from the telebot in 2021.
It's not going to work. If you have to go the lane of, like, trying to push this advertisement for your entry, and that's how you want to get votes, it's probably not going to happen.
It does eventually turn people off. I mean, I've seen one or two people say this about Armenia. I've seen people mainly say this about the Israeli ads, that they see so many of them that eventually it's just like, ugh, you know?
Just get an ad blocker.
Yeah, I mean, or get YouTube Premium. That's what I've done. YouTube Premium, by the way, if you get YouTube Premium, the creators who you watch get a much larger slice of revenue for each view. So you actually help your favorite creators a lot more, and you're doing it directly. So it means, like, I don't want to be reliant on ad revenue, because if you think about it, I can't stop that video, that advert for Israel, for example, being put on my videos. The Israeli government is paying for that ad to be put there, because it's the Ministry of Foreign Affairs that's paying for all of the ads this year. I don't want to be receiving ad money from the Israeli Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I can't control that. But if you have YouTube Premium, then it'll, then you get to skip that step. We have one more song, I believe, to talk about in the semi-final. I'm just going to... and I will say that one suggestion that was made to me by GJ yesterday when he was on stream was that you have ads allowed, but you're not allowed to say the word vote in them. You're not allowed to encourage people to vote. You're not allowed to say vote 20 times. You're not allowed to say, please vote for me.
I hate just, like, the advertisement campaigns in general, with the exception of Malta this year. Because having ads for Malta's entry on Grindr is crazy. It's wild.
And how would you know that, Gordon?
I don't know that personally. As a 100% heterosexual man, I wouldn't have a clue. But it's genius, isn't it? Like, she knows her audience so well.
So we have one more, which is Serbia. What did you think of the Great Balkan Mop?
Oh God, it's so naff. This entry is so naff. Here's the thing.
Gosh.
Why are we making it gay? Why are we trying to make this gay with the dancers? This song is not in any way, shape or form gay. What are we doing with the staging? And also the dragging across the floor is the silliest moment out of the entire show.
It did sort of have this weird homoeroticism, which is very ironic given Prince's quite well documented politics. I think it made no sense, but at the same time, this kind of kitsch thing, we've seen it before. Alexeyev from Belarus in 2018, where it's this kind of very kitsch, over-the-top kind of thing.
I think
and you just roll your eyes and go, ugh, why?
I think they were trying to, like, achieve a little bit of, like, the Molotov effect with this. I can see the resemblance. Because, like, the revamp was done by, what was his name? The guy that got...
Željko Joksimovic.
Yeah. And I think they tried to make it as old school as possible. And the staging was kind of giving Molotov in a way. The dragging across the floor to me is unexplainable. I don't know who came up with that. They need to drop the Tina. That person cannot be sane. Whoever thought, it's gonna be brilliant that moment. It's gonna be such a big thing. Everybody's going to be talking about this and picking up the phone. No.
I think everyone will agree it's one of the stupidest staging decisions I've ever seen in this context. Can we talk about how good Germany did, says Rick. Thank you very much for the 50 Czech crowns. And the clever change in the structure of the song, which gives them more time to breathe. Yes, actually. Yes, we can.
Oh, yes.
Let's talk about Germany.
Yeah.
We'll get the rehearsal clip up just to remind you guys a little bit. We're on screen while we're talking about this. So, this song is, firstly, great in Euroclub. Really fun in the arena. Mm-hmm. Her vocal is better than the national final.
It's so much better.
It's still a little shouty, but I think that's also partly stylistic. And this song has tons of auto-tune and effect in the studio version, so it's obviously not going to hit the same way. What did you think?
I love this song so much. And I think, for once, Germany nailed it with the staging. I think this staging for this song is absolutely brilliant. They kind of tweaked the structure of the song. I don't know if you noticed. Now she has more time to breathe and like actually vocally execute the song. To me, the only like weird decision with this is the fact that there are no backing vocals. Have you noticed? It's her vocal on its own. And you know what? She's not a great vocalist, and you don't have to be a great vocalist to do well in Eurovision. This is not a singing competition. But personally, if I was in the German delegation, it would have been like a no-brainer to me to like make sure that the backing vocals are great and they are turned up. I don't know why they didn't add that, but other than that, I think it's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good. And even though I love it, and even though you probably love it as well, and everybody, we all love Baller.
It's coming 24.
It's coming 24. Yeah. Absolutely. Which is so sad because this is one of my favorite German entries of all time.
It's just, I think it's too much of an acquired taste is the problem. Like, if you love the genre of music, you'll love the song.
Yeah.
It's more about, I talked about, like, for Latvia, for example, how big is the segment? Is the segment of people large enough who will pick up their phone and vote? They'll go through. The answer was yes. The answer for this, is it going to get...
Same with Czechia and Belgium. Like, people across the board love the song and they think it's fun. No, it's nobody's favorite though. They're not going to pick up the song for
this. I think a lot of people, including a lot of Germans, the discourse. I think we'll talk about this even more with Erica Wickman in Finland. But the discourse around this in Germany has just been appalling. The way in which the German media and Germans at large seem to have, sort of crapped all over this song. When, to be blunt, it's the most German entry to the contest in years and years.
Yeah.
It's actually in German, and it represents the most like culturally significant club scene in. Not just in Germany, but potentially in Europe. I mean, Berlin is legendary on so many levels. We've never seen a pastiche or an expression of that in Eurovision.
Great, it's brilliant, and I don't know what's with German people and like their hatred for the song. I would be delighted if this represented my country in the contest. I
mean, your country's Bulgaria, so you'd be delighted if anything represented your country. Sorry, that was mean.
This, I will find you. No, the thing is, well, yeah, but I like Ukraine songs, so
I guess you have Bulgaria and Ukraine. See, this is the thing. He has two, which makes it easier.
Yeah.
God, when it comes to being in Eurovision, like if you're Ukrainian, you get to root for like a song that you're like almost certain is going to be in the final every year. It's great. That must be quite a nice feeling.
It's amazing. Even though Semi 1 clearly proved that. The biggest crush out I've ever gotten.
If Albor and Tina sent the song under Austria, there'd be nowhere near as the amount of hate it gets. Yeah, that's true. I think also, the thing is with these giant markets, you get this with the UK, France, Germany, Spain, Italy. These enormous markets, the number of people with opinions, there's 80 million people in Germany.
Yeah. Like,
the audience for Eurovision comes like the reason why the big five are always in the final, that's like more than half of the audience is from those 5 countries alone. I feel like Germans always want their representative to fail, and it's strange to me. There are a few countries like that, and it is true and it's odd, and I've never understood it. I do think it's going to do badly, but I appreciate the way they've turned it around. I also appreciate the fact that Albor is just like live streaming on Twitch all the time.
Yeah.
Bro just randomly picks up his phone and he's like, yeah, I'm going to live stream now.
I love him.
No flag spam in chat, by the way. We're very clear about this. You flag spam, you get a timeout for a minute first, 10 minutes the second time, and then you get a ban the third time. So please, I want to see all your messages. I don't want to see people just dumping flags in chat. Except when we talk about Albania, then you can do it. We have an exception for Zero. Whenever we talk about Zero, people can spam the Albanian flags. That's not now, that's later. Behave yourselves. Now, let's keep moving forward. See, everyone's like Albania mentioned now. Absolutely hate the ESC mentality in Germany as a German.
Yeah. It's strange to me.
It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't, because like, especially with Ukraine, like the diaspora is always like the thing is like, one thing about Eastern Europe, we are always going to trash on ourselves, but like when it comes to the actual voting and like support, it's always there. And this is not the case with Germany. They just want to fail every single year. They are preying on their own downfall, which to me is weird as hell.
I think on the sort of diaspora thing, and I guess because you're quite well placed to talk about this, the thing I've been pointing out, I've been sort of showing this map of the Ukrainian diaspora a lot, but I think people, I don't think everyone understands the point that I'm making, because the point isn't to say, look, there's loads of Ukrainians all over the place. Thank you very much for the donation. As a check, I'm worried we'll withdraw. I hope not. I'm going to address that tonight because it's bad luck, in my opinion, at the minute. They just need to keep at it. I've been showing this map on stream of the Ukrainian diaspora all over Europe, and I think people are missing the point. It's not just that people say, oh, my country, pick up the phone. The reason why, in my opinion, the Ukrainian diaspora is particularly strong in the way it shows up when it comes to Eurovision is because most of the Ukrainian, if you take the Polish diaspora in the UK and Ireland, for example, a lot of those people now have been living in those countries for 20 years. And because of that, while they're still obviously constantly engaging with Polish cultural references and everything else, there's a little more room for them to sort of turn on the TV, see the Polish entry and go, don't like that. In the case of Ukraine, almost the entire Ukrainian diaspora in Europe appeared there in the last 3 years. Before that, they've lived in Ukraine, in most cases their entire lives. Most of them are either monolingual Ukrainian or bilingual Ukrainian and Russian language speakers. They have spent their entire life immersed in the Ukrainian cultural sphere because we are now, 35 years after the fall of the Soviet Union. And so anyone under the age, realistically, of 40 has only ever lived in an independent Ukraine in their conscious lives. Of course, they're going to engage when they see Ukrainian language media and Ukrainian related media on their TV. They're going to connect that in a stronger way. That's before you factor in the obvious added patriotism effect that every country would have if they were participating in this contest while being at war.
I think
it's a totally natural thing. I don't understand why people are surprised by it or hate it. It's a natural part of this is what happens when a large number of people are forced to move in a short space of time.
Also, I love this aspect of our mentality. Like and this is not just Eurovision, but like competitions like this in general. Ukrainians see Eurovision as a way to showcase our culture and our language and all of these things, and it's much more than just like, oh, let's turn the TV and like let's watch how bad our song is. It's more than that. It's like Ukrainians get why Eurovision is so important. They completely understand that this is a way to showcase a message for 3 minutes and try to make yourself heard, I guess. Like that's why Ukrainians always vote for their songs. That's why the diaspora is always backing the entries, because getting to see your country represented in such a big competition is really meaningful to Ukrainians in general. Plus, what you said, I completely agree with. Like, of course you're gonna vote for like your country when you turn on the TV and you see like your language on stage. And that's also as you said, like the diaspora is so recent. Like in the past 3 years, like these people miss Ukraine so much, and any chance they have, they're gonna like engage with anything Ukrainian. And Eurovision in Ukraine is a big thing, so it's a no-brainer.
The wider point here as well. Firstly, I think it would be true for any country. So, for example, I guarantee Lithuanians will have seen a song in Lithuanian on their TV. They pick up the phone and vote. If Bulgaria came back to the contest, sent an entry that was competitive in Bulgarian, they'd probably get 8 or 10 points from the UK, for example. And the reason for that is there's a big Bulgarian community in the UK. They're going to see something that speaks to them that's in their language, you know, and they're going to engage. I love how nobody hates Bulgarians more than Bulgarians themselves. Whenever we talk about you being Bulgarian or anything about Bulgaria, you're like, Bulgaria.
There is a reason why I left that country.
Now, in any case, the wider point here is, and this is the really interesting, this is the, like, the complexity of Eurovision morally at the moment.
Yeah.
Because if you look at the argument that I think that they are very different conflicts, but the argument that each country makes in its favour is essentially the same.
Yeah.
So let's take in the case of Ukraine. The Eurovision Song Contest is an immensely important thing to Ukraine to continue to express itself culturally in the midst of a time of war. That becomes increasingly important because it's one of the few windows where we have the opportunity to express ourselves on a pan-European stage in front of the entire continent without anyone else dictating it for us. It is our space.
Yeah.
Now, on one hand, that's a massively important thing that Ukraine is able to do that. Israel sees it in the same way and is trying to do the same thing. So you have this real moral complexity. I was the thing that made me think about it like this was actually a talk with the Palestinian artist Bashar Murad, and also he was alongside some representatives from the Ukrainian Center in Estonia, where they were sort of talking about it in this way. And it's this really, it's this very difficult thing to square because you have the sort of at least in my personal view, these two quite black-white situations where it's like, well, it's absolutely essential that you give Ukraine this cultural platform. And then it's like, on the other hand, it's like the way the EBU is structured, the way this contest works, and because of the geopolitical positions in Western Europe, we are also giving Israel this platform. So there's all these different like sub-narratives that make this contest morally complex.
It's also the way the two countries approach the contest. In Ukraine's case, we sent something that is not trying to... It's not doing what Israel is doing. We just, let's say this year, or even last year, Ukrainian motives, broad meaning, in this year's case, like, about the diaspora and everything, it's not the same. Like, Israel's, like, entries to me feel like manufactured in a way to, like, it feels like the government, like,
It's deliberate. I mean, like, this is the thing.
Super deliberate.
And this is what I said about the tired narrative, right?
Yeah.
It's this sort of, oh, cry for me ballad. But if you look at Ukraine's last 4 entries, firstly, Stefania was not a, quote unquote, war entry or whatever. It became the right message at the right time.
It was produced before the war.
And it reflected the mood of, I think, Ukraine at that time very well. But then, you had 3 radically, you had Tvorchi, you had Teresa Maria, you've got Bird of Prey. These are radically different entries. It's a totally different way of looking at the contest. That was a bit of a tangent. I felt like it was an interesting tangent, so I thought we should keep going. But we do have a few more songs to talk about. And Crystal points it out. Yeah, it feels like propaganda. Yeah, this is the thing. With Israel, it feels like there's it's political message first, song second.
Yeah.
With Ukraine, it feels like song first. There's a message in there. We're still here. We are. And all the rest of it. And it's important that our cultural voice is heard. But that is not the core thing. And they're not just producing a song cynically to do that. And besides, Vidbia this year, in my opinion, was top 3 national finals in terms of song quality as well. Like, at some point, you're all going to have to remember the fact that Bird of Prey is just a good song. Speaking of remembering, Monday, the United Kingdom. We saw this live for the first time last night. I love them, and I am extremely biased because I interviewed them, and it was really emotional and lovely, and now I'm just really, really want them to do well. So I'm going to go to you first, Gotham. Please don't be too mean because you'll break my heart.
I won't, which will shock all of you, but I like this. And the thing is, as you said, you're emotionally invested in the song because of them. I feel the same way. I love this entry so much, and love is a strong word. I like the entry because of them. They're so charismatic. They look so nice. These are the type of girls you would want to go to a club with and queen out. That's how I feel. I like the staging. I didn't expect them to lean into this aspect of it, like with the chandelier and everything. I like the outfits, which is shocking because the styling this year is beyond abysmal. But the UK actually has pretty good styling. I like the staging. I like the way they perform it. Actually, yesterday they were proper stellar. One of the best vocal performances of the night. These girls can really sing. And I think this entry offers like this theater kid type of sound, which we do not Other than this, what do we have of that nature?
Yeah, I think we have to really give credit on the styling where it's due, because it's easy to look at some of the worst stylings this year and go, I hate it. But when it's really good and when it really works, I think you have to say that too. It's giving me Powerpuff Girls a little bit.
It is.
And in addition to that, there's so much, like we said, black, white, red. You've got all of this, like, sort of color palette running through everything. Then you have something like this comes along, and it's just a burst of color. I think it's going to do great with juries, especially. I think it could come top 10 in the juries because of the vocals. Televote is going to be more difficult. It's not going to get 0 like last year.
Oh yeah.
But I think 3 figures overall is in the realm of possibility. I don't think it's going to come in the top 10. I think top 15 at the moment would be an amazing achievement for this, and is not out of the realms. We're actually competitive. That's the main thing. All I want is to be sending songs that if we put in the semi-final, I think they would qualify. This would have qualified out of both semi-finals. Of both semi-finals comfortably.
I don't agree that the juries are going to be going insane for this. I can really not see this in the top 10 with the juries. Sorry. I think like a right-hand side of the scoreboard for you guys this year. But I still like the effort. I'm glad that you are... there is an actual effort, because the UK is not known for that in Eurovision.
Now, I'm going to see if we have... it doesn't look like I've got it yet. I know there was someone who was who'd been drawing us and wanted to send it to us. They were having trouble verifying on the server. Hopefully, we'll be able to get that up for you later. In the meantime, we now have... I've deliberately saved these 2 songs till now. France and Finland first. France. By the way, just quickly, there is a rehearsal going on right now. It's I'm not covering it because you all saw it all, right? You all know what's going on, and this is just a closed rehearsal for the press. Oh, there was a raid alert. Where? Oh, on the Discord. Okay, it's fine. I thought it was in Twitch chat. Just bear in mind, so today, interestingly, last night we saw Erica's microphone, big microphone. There was a kind of explosion on it, and we'll show you in a minute. You might have noticed her flinch in the performance. Today, she had to perform again because the first time the microphone malfunctioned. So she couldn't get on it. She had to stay on the stage for the last bit. In any case, France, I wanted visual storytelling. I got visual storytelling. Yeah. I thought it was beautiful. If it's all right with you, I'd like to monologue just a little bit and highlight some of my favourite elements of this staging. So I'm going to get the performance off. I've been a massive supporter of this all along, and you probably saw in my interview with her is that all I've wanted all along is for all of you to sort of see what I am seeing and to experience it in the way that I am experiencing it, because I think there's so much about this which is so beautiful, and it reflects the messaging perfectly. First plus for me, all of the sand stuff is fine, but if we just have the sand in the air, it's possible that we might not entirely get what she's saying. By giving her an hourglass right at the start, I'm going to hold on to that comment for a minute because I want to read it. By getting this hourglass right at the start, what you have is a really clear framing for the audience. It's like, okay, everyone immediately goes, okay, it's about time. Yeah. Which then makes everything else make sense. Because then, a few seconds later, when we zoom out to the sand pit, it's not like, oh, why is she in a pit of sand? It's like, okay, it's the sands of time, right? That's a really universal symbol. Why is someone saying everyone scream? Big sexy man says everyone scream Luxembourg. Well, he did ask. Luxembourg!
Luxembourg. Not scream, sorry. No man can tell me what to do.
Okay. And you have, some of these shots with the time and so on. It's very personal. Next moment, which I love, is the shots on the floor with the mirror, which is... I'm just trying to find it. Here. Yeah. What I love about this, and GJ said something about this yesterday as well, is it's like the cameraman is discovering it with us because of the way this is done, and you just see her at the end. And also, this is a mastery of how to say things without saying anything. Her facial expressions, every facial expression, it's so, it's just done just right. The level of focus is unreal. If we go forward, obviously we have the big moment going into this. And this, now, I think having seen the rest of it, this is just beautiful when you see this. Yeah. And by the way, it's like, they're like larger than sand. They're like, not bits of corn, but like cork. That's it. It's shredded cork is how they do it, because sand is impossible to would get everywhere. Cork you can brush out slightly more easily. Mm-hmm. And finally, something that I didn't know whether I was going to understand would be the moment at the end with when she calls to her daughter. For the first time, when I saw, having spoken to her about it, and sort of, it's meant to, the song. I think I understand it better now. It's meant to be a release.
Yeah.
Like, and she was saying in the interview that I did with her that she wanted, this will probably be the last time she talks about her grief with her mother in a song. And I think this is about this last moment. Now I understand it as a switch. It's like the last kind of song of that grief, which she's then letting go. Yeah. I'm very keen to know what you think, Gollum. But firstly, I do want to just read this comment, which says, Gollum, you're such a breath of fresh air in the fan media community. Your channel scratches an itch I had for a long time. So happy to see you here and to get to experience the future of your channel.
Oh, thank you guys.
That's from Dime a Dozen.
Thank you, Dimo.
And because your channel is certainly not Dime a Dozen, it's very good. I'm really funny. What do you think of Maman?
Beautiful. I think because when we got the song, I was like, oh, well, what are we gonna do now? Are we gonna go like generic as always with the French entries, like what we had with Sleman last year? This is such an elevation. This is telling a story. You can tell that I don't know about you, maybe it's because I have analyzed the song and I've done a video about it and I've looked at the lyrics, but I think like the casual viewer will understand like what the song is about, even if they don't speak French. It's just so masterfully done. Who was doing their staging again? The guy that did
Frederick Ridman.
Yeah,
Frederick Ridman, who did Nemo, yeah.
What an amazing stage director again. Like, it feels like a winning performance. And I think the visual storytelling with the microphone, with the sound, with the hourglass as well, is so brilliant. And honestly, I couldn't think of a better way to stage this song than this. I think this is the French delegation really wanting to win, really seeing the potential in her, in Luan, in the song, and going all the way. You can tell that they did not go shy with the budget this year, because this just looks so expensive, so nice, so beautiful. It's just beautiful. Because with the song, it's such a breath of fresh air because it's truly like an emotional ballad. But also like with the staging, you see it on the screen. First 5 seconds, you're locked in, and you're standing there silent for the rest of like 3 minutes. It's beautiful, and I wouldn't be too mad if this wins.
Yeah, I still think it's in contention.
It is.
I just think I was looking for an emotional impact that from Austria and France that matches or beats Switzerland, because that is the competition now. Yeah. And in my opinion, Austria didn't meet that. France did.
Yeah.
And so that means I think we're looking at France or Switzerland
winning the juries.
Yeah. Just a little thing. There's reports about a Celine Dion private jet arriving into Basel. I heard this as well.
Oh.
What I would say, maybe it means a performance. That would be amazing. It might just mean she's coming to watch the show as an invited guest. So I'm going to be excited, but only a little bit. Rose said, could France afford to host? It's the Big Five. The Big Five could host every single year. There's a reason why the plan basically is, if somebody can't host, just throw it at someone in the Big Five.
Yeah.
Because although they face budget cuts like all other broadcasters, compared to, ULA or SVT or SRG, SSR, France TV and BBC and the broadcasters like this have money coming out of their ears.
Yeah.
And if you think about the financial impact of running the same contest in a country with 60 million people versus a country with 6 million, it's proportionally a lot less expensive. I'm very excited about France. I want to talk about Finland. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is about Erika Vikman's professionalism. And I'm going to get the performance up to show you guys this because, in my opinion, with retrospect, this was low-key kind of terrifying. I'm going to show you a little clip from the end of this performance. When she gets up on the microphone, you're going to see her visibly flinch. Mm-hmm. And then I'm going to show you what this looked like from the audience so you can see why. So in the next camera shot, there, she visibly flinches away. Now, I'm going to show you, because you didn't hear it on the broadcast, because they have the gain set correctly on the mics, I guess. I'm going to show you guys what that sounded like in the room, because it was scary. Let me find the video, one moment. I should have had it up and ready, shouldn't I? Where is it? Because there's a video of it in front of it, and it's like an explosion went off, and I really can't illustrate it to you without actually showing it to you. Sorry, I'm really sort of making you wait for this. There was a technical issue with the pyro. That's exactly what happened. I couldn't find the UK on the board when the selection came, says Jack. The UK is pre-qualified for the final. So because we're one of the big contributors financially to the contest, we pre-qualify for the final each year. Okay, Erica explosion. I'm trying to find this on Twitter now. This is the most professional of all streams. I'm sure we can agree. Okay, here we go. I have the video now. This was terrifying. So you guys don't get feedback, I'm going to quickly mute us for a second while I play this. I've gone to the wrong scene. So when the pyro comes on... Yeah, you can see it there. Okay, right. Here we are. Let's get ready. This is what it sounded like in the room.
Oh, I haven't seen this. This is my first time seeing this.
That is terrifying. That is utterly terrifying. I'm going to play it for you guys again. Imagine you're suspended in midair. She does have some rigging, so if she slipped, she wouldn't fall down. Just to be clear, you can see it. There's a little wire hanging off of her back. That's why they have the audience shots. It's not because she could get on the microphone just fine, still being on camera. Yeah. It's because they have to quickly wire her up for safety reasons. Imagine you're suspended in midair like that. You hear an explosion right next to you, and you just have to keep going.
Yeah. She's singing the long note here as well.
Like, that's terrifying. To be clear, whatever the problem was, they fixed it. It worked properly in the rehearsal just now. They had a second run through. On the second run through, it was perfect. The pyro is working normally again. So if there was a problem, they fixed it. Mm-hmm. But this was...
terrifying, yeah.
I didn't realise at the time, Kurikov, that's not funny. Take 10 minutes out at least. Jesus Christ. There are some things that just you can't say, and that is not funny at all. Oh, there we go. Yeah, B, you got it for me. Thank you very much. So, I imagine being in this position and still going. People are saying the mic came.
Yeah.
I mean, in some ways, but I don't know how she did. Like, I would have shat myself.
Oh yeah, same, absolutely. First of all, you're performing for so many viewers. You're doing that while suspended in the air because she's quite high. This is higher than she was at the UMK performance.
Yeah, I mean you can see it here how far off the floor she is. You know,
she's so high, and then she's singing that long note. She's probably nervous about whether she's gonna hit it, and then the fucking mic explodes as well. She's such a professional. I adore her. Her talent is.
So now we can talk about this performance more generally, because this was the highlight of the night. This was the best performance of the night by a long way. I thought every element of this was upgraded. There wasn't a single thing that I changed except for the explosion not exploding. Like the way they frame her, it's like she's a rock star. It felt like her headline show.
It did. Yeah.
And, sometimes, this is the thing, you don't need big props. I imagine the microphone was quite expensive. Other than that, this staging probably didn't cost that much.
Yeah.
because it's here on stage when you have someone who's good enough and you have someone like Sergio Hyen choosing your camera angles for you, you're going to get everything right.
Yeah.
In my opinion, she looks so much more confident than UMK as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, we know that at UMK she had problems with her in-ears, but here, oozing confidence.
Absolutely.
Like
Yeah.
every element of this, her vocal was so much better. And they've done some they have used some clever tricks. She has a team of vocalists off stage too. So all the ish commas are done live. There's also, I think she has a doubling vocalist for some of the parts as well to make it to fill it out. And like, I can't emphasize enough, she's totally alone. She's just there by herself. And I mean, it's so special. And I'm just yapping. Please tell me about Erika Vickman in a voice that this audience has not been hearing for the last few weeks, because I have not stopped talking about it.
This is such a winner performance. Like this, and we're gonna talk about it later probably, but this and Switzerland are the only two entries I have watched the full performances of, and I have felt like I'm watching a winning entry. This is so brilliantly done. And the thing is, when I watched the jury show yesterday, no, not yesterday, on Wednesday, I was not sold on the staging. I am so in love with the UMK performance, so every single like little difference there is between this and the UMK one, I notice it immediately. But this is just feels more grand in a way. Like it feels more professional. Also, I wasn't entirely sold because she kept it like a little bit low energy in the jury shows. Yesterday, she nailed it. She blew it out of the park. I love every single thing about this. And from the second I heard the song, because you texted me, do you remember in the group chat, you were like, oh, Erika is winning Eurovision.
Yes.
The second it got released, and I listened to the song, and I was immediately sold. And this has been in my top 2 ever since, and it's not going to change. And if one country really deserves to win, it's Finland.
Yeah.
And I still think that this might have a chance. I might just be delusional, but I think Finland is still in the running.
I think it has more of a chance than the odds imply. It's for some reason still down low. We're going to have a look at that last section again, because I think this was the best it had been. Yeah. And the crowd shots as well were much better than at UMK. People luckily understood the assignment and got really high energy. This, by the way, was a great way of doing it, having her walking off and keeping the same camera, going down to the audience, jumping around. Everyone who's down there, by the way, listen, all of these people, for the most part, will be members of OGE, because most of the OGE tickets are always standing. You all paid a lot to be there, so jump up and down because you've paid a lot and she deserves it.
Absolutely.
I know you paid a lot because I've bought those tickets in the past and they are not cheap. The audience shots, there's no way around it. We have to have them. We just have to hope they're where people are jumping around. Because then we cut to this reveal, and the way they pan out, the way they start in, so close to her face, you can't tell what's going on.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I almost wish they could go even closer in. I'd love if this shot started just with her head and nothing else. Yeah. And then it comes all the way out, and you're like, oh my God. It's just
phenomenal. Yeah. Watching this last night just reminded me of why I love Eurovision so much.
By the way, did you notice she had a look over at the explosion?
Did she?
When she knew the wide shot was on, and then she looked back again. So she's so professional and so in the moment. And then obviously the greatest, in my opinion, the greatest ending shot of any Eurovision performance.
And the frame works so well with this. See, the thing is, before Finland came on last night, I was like, oh, I am not entirely sold on this performance now. I prefer it on the UMK stage. The thing is, one of the main reasons, and I don't mind it now, but when I watched the jury show, I was like, oh, why they didn't do that, is they're not using the frame at all. I expected them to use the frame. Like with the second I saw the stage, and we got Ikkomi winning in Finland, I was like, oh, they're surely going to use that frame too. Do you remember from the UMK performance, like when she's on the microphone, like these lights around the stage just go, like long shots of like the lights. They could have used that with the frame. And I still don't know why they do that.
One thing they did do, I'm glad they did this with the flickering.
Yeah.
That was a good use.
But I think it could have been so better if they used the frame, like in the same way they did in UMK. I don't know if like my point is getting across, but
One thing I will say, just a tiny, tiny, tiny note to whoever is operating this camera position, you need to be very slightly over to the right. Because Erica is visible there, but you want her in like just slightly further along on that eye. So maybe just shift it along, I don't know, 10 feet to the right. And then you'll have the perfect shot.
yeah.
But yeah, no, it's stunning, and I think she's going to win. I am going to say that now. Might be a good time to look at the odds quickly before we go to the running order, because that is the next order of business. Still plenty of time to go here, guys. It's flown by. Can you believe we've been on more than 2 hours? I feel like we only just sat down.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of changes in the odds since yesterday, so we're going to look at them now. Here we are. As you can see, everyone's up and down and all over the place. There is finally a little movement from France and Finland upwards. We're back under 20 for Finland. We are down to sort of 6, 7 to 1 for France. And the tiniest, I don't mean the tiniest of drifts for Austria. Like, you know, people seem pretty confident about Sweden at the minute. This is a kind of Loreen-esque lead at this stage.
Well, we had that last year as well with Croatia. It doesn't necessarily mean that.
Yeah, Croatia was in the 50s, like 55, 56%. What do you like about these odds? What makes no sense to you?
Malta in the top 10. I fear like it's good and we had fun, but this song will not get a good result. I really don't think Malta is going to get a good result. I cannot see Malta in the top 10, let alone... I just wouldn't bet on it. And I don't get why people are betting on Malta. The Netherlands in 4th position to me is insane. I think he performed well. I like the performance. And
it's a lot better now than
it's a lot better, yeah. The jury show, watching the jury show, I was like... It might be over for us, it might be over, but...
And then he showed up the next night. All of a sudden he found it again, you know?
But again, 4th in the odds for winning, I just don't see any universe in which like the Netherlands wins. I just, to me, like, I would keep Sweden 1st. Austria, I can deal with it being 2nd. I would put Finland 3rd with around the same percentage as Austria, and then after that France. Netherlands, there, no idea why that's there. Estonia, I think Switzerland should be higher. I really think like. We might get to it a bit later, so I'm gonna shut up. But I just don't think like 8 is. It should be higher.
Yeah, we will come to Switzerland. We're gonna come to all of it. We're gonna come through the whole grand final. We've got plenty of time. Stay with us. Do not go anywhere. We are going to go through that whole running order because I know you're probably all chomping at the bit to talk about it. Since that happened late last night, we found out at Euroclub. You know how I found out it was out? I saw a gaggle of French fans running across the room going, 80, 80. 20, not 80, 24. 80 is 80, 24 is 24. It was, and then I was like, wait, that's a number. The running order is out. And then I ran to the smoking area to try and find some of you guys to be like, it's happening. And instead, I found GJ, I found Fame, aka Eurovision Crave, and I found Annie, as in ESC Factful. And we went through it all together, and we all went, well, look, I guess they've done it for Sweden. Come to that in a second. Just quickly, we have basically outlined, we have talked about Germany, Das Mystery Man. 2 things. 1, Harris Greece says Greece shall win. I think he might be biased based on his name.
Yeah.
Secondly, it's time, and I'm going to say this, and everything's going to set on fire over here.
Oh no.
It's time for a poll. We have named, over the last few days, 4 songs now. We've narrowed it down to 4 that we think can still win this contest. Austria is not one of those choices. Yeah. The ones that, based on what we've said, Sweden, France, Finland, Switzerland.
Albania.
Okay, we're not being silly. They're going to change from polls to Zierms in a minute, but I can only put 4 options in a poll. So
Zierm in the chat.
Who is most likely to win Eurovision is the question. I'm going to type that now. Who is most likely to win Eurovision? And your options are France, Switzerland, Finland, and Sweden. They are losing their minds in there right now.
Yep.
Okay, the poll's up in YouTube chat, and Mod will put it up in Twitch chat shortly. We'll give them a couple of minutes to think about that. In the meantime, I'm going to get the running order up. Now, we should say the running order is determined by the production team. A couple of little forwards. People often say, oh, they kill songs and put them second or whatever because they know it came 10th in the semi. Jerry Khale and Aliona is my answer to that. I know this still hurts.
It does. It does. Seeing that running order last year after semi 2 was one of the worst moments out of my entire life.
It was. I mean, it didn't work out badly for them in the end. You know,
It didn't, but we could have won.
you maybe could have. So we're back on Eurovision World again. We're going to get the running order up now. We'll start from the top and work our way through. Like I said, they do not know the results when they make this running order. Norway opening the show. I was certain it was going to be Spain.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone seemed to think it was going to
Really?
be Spain. Yeah.
I knew it was going to be Norway.
Why?
I was just certain of that. Like the second what did he draw? First half or producer's choice?
I can't remember.
Whatever. This just feels like a natural opener for me. And I discussed this with someone like maybe like even a month ago, and I was like, oh, Norway will probably open the final. I just knew it was gonna happen, and you know what? It's a good opener in my opinion. I think it will struggle, however. I think this spot really hurts Norway.
Sure. What do you think Luxembourg did to the EBU to to earn that?
I'm just glad the favoritism is done, and they didn't show any favoritism with Luxembourg.
They did give them every plum spot last
Yeah.
year, and I don't really get it. Dolphin Dane, I know you have that analysis, and I actually already have it planned. I'm going to show it on stream later. We're going to go through the songs first, and then we're going to look at the statistical analysis. Luxembourg, yeah, I mean, it stands out from the songs around it. What is very funny is, and I think Tommy Cash, he made a TikTok this morning or yesterday with Cardi that implies he knows he's not going to win now.
Oh, thank God. Finally.
By the way, I'm going to end the poll now. On Twitch, 51% say Finland is most likely to win Eurovision. 27 Sweden, 14 France, 8 Switzerland. Meanwhile, on YouTube, 42% Switzerland, 35% Finland. 42% Sweden, 35% Finland, 11% France, 10% Switzerland, and 1,000 votes on that poll. So that's a pretty strong result. Carlos says next year is the 20th anniversary of the first Finnish win, with Lordi and Voyage as the best host nation entry in a very long time. Anything is possible. I agree.
Yeah.
So, Estonia. Kind of filling the Joost Klein role this year. I think he kind of aimed to do that. To be fair, he has done it well, and he will probably achieve a similar level of televote success. Like, he's good at what he does, just what he does rub people up the wrong way, is the thing. Is what I'm saying. It rubs you up the wrong way. Thank you to Taser, who just donated 2,500 CRC. I don't know what currency that is. Maybe CRC, maybe Costa Rica?
No.
It's back to currency guesser with ESC Gabe. But I really appreciate it in any case. I didn't talk about Luxembourg. We did briefly. There's just not much to say. It's unfortunate, but someone's got to go there. Yeah. Now, I'm seeing something similar here, which is what they attempted to do last year, but couldn't because Joost was disqualified. Which is put a televote fan favourite, which is energetic, early in the show, immediately before Israel.
Yeah, absolutely.
And without meaning to feed into the sort of, I think Israeli press and media sort of last year were saying, well, they tried to screw us with the running order. I actually do, part of me does think, yes, they are actually trying to screw Israel with the running order.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I think it's probably, whether consciously or not, I suspect at some level, there is an awareness among the producers of the show or whatever else. There you go. Now you can see the whole running order. There's just a couple more on the bottom. There we are. Perfect. I think there's an awareness on some conscious or unconscious level that would obviously not be good for the contest for Israel to win it.
It's entirely intentional in my opinion.
So sort of having them buried after a fan favorite this early on is probably part of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this kind of makes sense to me. I mean, it's the same slot they were in last year.
Yeah.
Someone said producers know Eurovision is over if Israel wins. I think now, would Eurovision be over if Israel won? I think it would survive. I think it would be a very different competition for a few years.
Yeah.
I think you'd see a lot of big changes. I think a lot of super fans definitely wouldn't go.
Oh yeah.
Whether they would stop engaging with it entirely is another matter. I mean, in my case, you have added complications, which is like, and I do think about this sometimes, which is like, I put food in my fridge by making videos about the Eurovision Song Contest. I would obviously never go to Israel for Eurovision.
Yeah.
So it would be a very different year. Whether I'd watch the shows, I don't think I would. I think I'd like analyze all the national finals and stuff, but I think at a certain point you have to say, well, it isn't really fair to watch these shows.
Yeah.
I'd do something else which reflects the appropriateness. People saying they'd move it, or a number of countries wouldn't go. That's another thing.
Yeah.
It would probably just be in Germany or UK or something. Germany. In which case, well, then there's another level of like, well, now the ethics have changed slightly. It's not in Israel, but is it going to be an Israeli-led edition? How does it play into? There's all of these different factors. But that's not a problem this year at all, because this song is not getting close. The televote effect won't be as strong. And the public vote, the public vote effect won't be as strong. The jury score, I think, might actually be lower than last year, because Eden Golan was a better singer with a better song. Yuval, very inexperienced, clearly struggling.
Yeah.
In any case, we move on. Lithuania. I feel sorry for Lithuania having to go straight after Israel again. I suspect that the atmosphere in the room won't be as bad as it was straight after last year.
Yeah.
But it's tough being in this first 7-8 songs.
Not an optimal position for Lithuania. Yeah.
Spain, doesn't matter where they're going to go. I think they're coming last.
Yeah, I would agree. Honestly, did not get across. Casuals do not like that song. I think only Spanish people like Spain, and that's about it. Yeah.
It was Costa Rica, by the way, the CRC. 2,500 CRC. Finland and Sweden have no chance for people at home because of the audio tampering. It affects perception. I completely disagree. Thank you, Chisel. ESC Tom said this was great for Lithuania. Since it's a gloomy song and the audience will be gloomy after Israel. I mean, maybe. It's a very different, like stylistically, it makes sense to have the sort of Norway, Luxembourg, Estonia fast start, couple of slower songs, and then go faster again through Spain, Ukraine, the UK. So that moves me on to, I think, the next inflection point, which is this sort of UK, Austria, Iceland sequence. Putting the UK and Austria next to each other again, I think helps both of them because the colour palettes are so different.
Yeah.
If I was Vibe, I'd be quite excited about this.
Really?
It's one of the best slots in the first half. They are immediately after. Think about how accessible Roa is and compare it to how, relatively speaking, inaccessible
Wasted Love is.
that Wasted Love is perceived to be.
Yeah.
How do you... So, I actually think that a lot of people who sort of go, oh, I didn't engage with that vocal, will then hear Vibe and go,
Oh, absolutely.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't think this is a good position for Austria at all. We got high energy Ukraine, UK, and then
Very
Austria.
colourful as well.
Very colourful. Then black and white. It will stand out. But then after that, to have Iceland is not good for Austria. Plus, it's so early on. I think this really, if one country is really hurt by this running order, it's Austria.
I think it's actually funny to be talking about Iceland as a threat to Austria in terms of how it's going to be perceived. And it shows how far we've come. I mean, this is the thing: it's so. If you have like kids and young people watching who are the most likely to sort of look at Austria and go, I hate this. Then they'll see Iceland and they'll enjoy it. Latvia afterwards, in between Iceland and the Netherlands, you are the most attached to this.
You know what? I was so scared for Latvia qualifying. I just wanted them in the final. I don't care if they are last, first, whatever. I just needed them in the final. It's not a. It's alright. I think the thing is, like, I think running order is not that big of a deal anymore, just because like we have the voting open from the beginning of the show, and if people are really gonna like a song, they're gonna vote for it immediately. I don't know. Latvia, it could have been worse, honestly. I think the juries will appreciate them. I cannot see the televote going wild. But it's a nice switch from Iceland, in my opinion. Yeah.
Bruno says, fandom always says France will flop with the televote, but people tend to forget that in 21 and 24, the televote actually gave more points to France than the juries. I mean, that's why they're such a threat. And thank you very much for the €5. €2 from Rika as well. Austria, Iceland, boat.
Yeah.
That's a nice touch. I do wonder whether they do those little like sort of jokes on purpose. But there we are. The Netherlands in 12th and Finland in 13th. I think this is kind of a recognition. These songs are very different to each other. I think it's an amazing draw for Finland because they have two songs which are totally different to them beforehand. Staged in the Netherlands case, quite a minimal way. Yeah. Which is going to make Erica really stand out. I think they've done what they did in 2023, where they've recognised Finland as a massive favourite. They've wanted to put it later, but they are stuck because it's drawn first half. So they put it as late in the first half as they can. That part of the show, as we'll see in Dolphin Dane's graph after this, is really good. It's a really good place to be. Statistically, it gets you strong results. It's not as good as being in the last five, but it's as good as you can get in that half. Italy afterwards, on the other hand, being between Poland and Finland, awful. In one sense, it makes it stand out. On the other hand, I find the performance a bit underwhelming.
It is underwhelming, and I just think like people are gonna watch Finland and are gonna go insane, are gonna be talking about it for the next like 3 minutes, and they will just miss out. Really, I think this is awful for Italy. Not good at all.
And then Poland obviously is there. I think she's gonna come like 12th. Every Polish person in Europe is going to vote for this.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say the diaspora, the Poles just in general are insane. They're over the head. They're going ballistic with the song. Finally, Poland has a song. Finally, Polish people like their song, and this is really going to reflect in the televote because Poland is coming top 10 with the televote. I watched like at semi-1. I was watching it with a couple of friends, and most of them were like casual viewers. But we had two Polish people. Even though, because we all knew Justina was going to qualify, they pulled out their phone immediately and both of them voted 20 times for her.
Wow.
In the semi-final.
Wow.
Yeah, Poland is probably going to be on the left-hand side of the scoreboard. And I wouldn't be surprised if Poland comes top 10. Just
Michal Schwab level, 200 points in the televote.
I can low-key see it.
It would be amazing. Can you imagine? I think everyone will, the gag if everyone, if she gets 200.
She will explode a few.
So next we have this sequence of Germany, Greece, Armenia. Again, you have you come down. I think the contrast from Poland to Germany is slightly less extreme than the Finland to Italy one, but it's nevertheless slightly less loud, but it's still pretty loud. Yeah. Again, to be honest, I think in this run, I don't think there's actually much of a story to tell, but because it's basically like loud, quiet, Greece, loud Armenia, quiet Switzerland, loud Malta, quiet Portugal, loud Denmark, and then loud Sweden, quiet France, loud San Marino, and then Albania at the end. I think we can take this last bit because obviously everyone performing like 19th or later, amazing slots.
Great spot for Switzerland.
And this is actually a really good time. Kyle going first is karma for rubbing it in Gabe's face that I said Norway would have an easier time qualifying than Belgium. Yep, it absolutely is. Thank you so much for the £5. I'm just going to quickly get up Dolphin Dane's article, which is really interesting on running orders, which means not for the last time and not for the first time, we're going over to ESC Insight. Okay, here we are. This is the graph I was looking for. Running order impact. So basically, for the final, the orange line is the televote. The blue line is the juries. So the juries, it matters less. The televote, it matters more. As you can see, performing in the first day, it kind of sucks. But then after that, you're essentially in with a fighting chance, especially towards the end. Things are dramatically better with the televote. And Dolphin Dane, I can't see percentages like on the y-axis here, but I seem to remember this is like 6-7% better if you are at this end. Italy will likely come after a host bit, possibly. In fact, that would be really good for Finland as well, because this is the case for Sweden. France is going to take a long time to set up. Sweden before them. There's time afterwards for people to talk to each other, to people go, oh, that was great, I love that. Is this still relevant with opening before the first song? I'm absolutely certain it's covered in this article. So let me have a look here. But what this is, it's good news for Erika Wickman. It's good news for Kai. It's good news for France because they're late in the show and they have a big gap before them. This is the thing, is France was always going to be in that position. Will Italy come after a host bit? Yes. So, Dolphin Dane, if you're in chat, percentages are on my Twitter. You can also see the countries. Do you have a commentary, Dolphin Dane, on the effect of voting being open from the start of the show? It's only been for 1 year, hasn't it? So I don't think we've quite had it yet. JB asks, traumatic Sweden/Finland split screen at the end of the night. That would imply one of them won the juries.
Yeah.
It's not impossible. Either of them
No,
could, but I think it's unlikely.
No.
I think it's really unlikely.
Yeah.
I think most likely at the moment, I would say France or Switzerland, but close to each other, so neither will go over 300.
Yeah.
Because if they're splitting, then they'll go into the mid to high 200s, so maybe 280 each. Mm-hmm. If both, if Kai and or Erika are in the 200s, then they're in the game. Yeah. And then I think Erika Wickman could win the televote at the minute.
Same. I would agree.
Did you see the Dutch public app results from the semis? No. So please share more details. When they scrapped the early voting back in the day, they said that people weren't really using it anyway, so don't think it weakens running order impact by much. Yeah, I do remember, you can't link it V3 Love, but if you just explain what the result was, instead, that would be very helpful. We can't allow links in chat, unfortunately, because that would end badly. Do we have new prediction models? I believe there will be a run of the model today/tonight. I am going to ask the creator of the model for when we're next going to get another version of it. And then after that, we're going to talk about Albania.
Finally.
Because, quite frankly, Gotham, it feels wrong to bring you on stream and not talk about Albania with you. What we're going to do is we are going to... So I'm going to search for James. And I'm just going to ask him, is there a new model today? And I'll let you know when he comes back to me. Let's see what else is going on. Right, so back to it. Now, I want you guys to know that, and I'm going to embarrass you now. When we were at London Eurovision Party, I'll get the whole performance up on YouTube so you can look more. When we were at London Eurovision Party, I think there's a cat trying to get in. Is the cat trying to come in the room? Sorry, it's just I think we're being distracted by a cat. Gotham, I'll embarrass you. You quickly go check. Thank you, Chew, for the €10. Says #1 fan. I really, really appreciate that. Gotham was at the London Eurovision Party, and was there a cat?
Oh, it's in the house now.
Yeah, just leave it. The cat just came in. It was on the sofa before, but I'll just let it wander around. It'll probably jump out the front window again. At London Eurovision Party, you met the Albanian delegation.
Yes.
And they instantly recognised him. They instantly recognised him and said, and brought you over to Skopje Electronica. Yeah. And we're like, this is the guy, who did this brilliant video, who did the best analysis of your song. He's the one who understands it best.
Yeah. I still cannot believe that happened. You saw me after that. I was in a pure state of shock.
So but that means, of course, there is no one better to talk about this performance than you. So, what did you think of Skopje Electronica? What did you think of what they brought to the Eurovision stage?
I think like in a fair universe, we would be going to Albania next year. I might be delusional, I might be biased, but to me, this is genuinely the best song out of the entire lineup. It's so different, and of course, like casual viewers will not understand like the symbolism and everything, but when you go over and check the lyrics, and this is a perfect time to plug my video on Albania, go over and watch it after the stream. You're gonna like it. It's so deep, and it's such a breath of fresh air to have it's so authentic. Like if the word authentic was a Eurovision entry, it would be this. This is so Albanian. This is so cultural, and yet it's so. It's. Wait, I cannot. I forgot the fucking word. It's conceptual. It's so conceptual.
That's it, yeah.
It's so conceptual, and I am in love with this. And this might sound delusional, but I still think there is a chance. It might be a 5% chance. It might be a 2% chance. It might be a 1% chance that Albania can still win. And what we said about the Polish diaspora is happening to Albania. The
Albanian diaspora loves this so much.
Love it. So, again, on like Poland levels, those are the two diasporas that are really gonna be like a key factor in the results this year. I can see this entry getting like more than 200 points from the top.
That would be amazing. So when we look at this here, in my opinion, I was really worried about Kola. We talked about this the other day. They made it work.
It works.
I think, and because the way they did it was by refocusing him. Instead of looking at the audience, instead of trying to engage with the audience or the camera, all he has to do is engage with Beatrice. Who's the one person he's most comfortable with?
It's
Beatrice.
so intimate.
And he looks so scary as well.
Yeah, I love it. He looks like the typical Eastern European villain you would find in the movie.
The other thing is, and Vibe told us yesterday, they were like, how do you get your voice to be like that? And he was like, drink a lot of alcohol and smoke a lot of cigarettes. So you got him, are well on your way to being just...
I think I'm already there.
Yeah, oh wait, no, I've got to get the actual lyrics now. You're going to read them to us. Because I think actually, Zierum is going to sound absolutely perfect coming from you. I don't know how good your Albanian is.
Awful.
But here we are. So what you're going to read this for us. Whenever you're ready, in your best caller voice.
Zierum, bjerme vale të tribale kote të paqëve për male zierum. Njet po ente të dhe të shej butit e bëtën e vetën në shpat, të vëshme të këve bit.
Zierum.
Tutflende Tirana Made.
You really need to learn these words better.
Zierum.
Zierum. This is the thing, and it's that ultimately, if you want some true ASMR, well, it's not really ASMR because you have too many jump scares in your video, but you could do amazing ASMR Eurovision content. Maybe you should start a second channel where you just talk about Eurovision, but
all of my videos just done in an ASMR way.
Yeah, like really deep voice. You just sit there and you're like, "Good evening, everyone. I am Gotham, and I am here to talk to you about your 100,000 subscribers in a week."
I wouldn't be surprised. People like my voice.
Yeah,
which is like. The thing is, on every single video I have, there isn't a video without this, at least one comment along the lines of, I didn't expect that voice from him.
Someone says, the jury votes in the semi-finals just in case the televote fail. They say, I saw that the Netherlands won the jury, Albania was fourth, jury voting, not televote. Oh my God, these things aren't real. They're not real. What early voting does allow for is people who aren't really watching the show to vote anyway without staying up late, which may be beneficial for politically tinged voting campaigns like the Israeli one. Yeah, but also we saw last year that there's a limit to its effectiveness, and it'll be less effective this year too. So Bluesy, that result you saw is every year we see allegations that there was this result leaked. It doesn't happen, right? It just doesn't happen. It's not true. Twitter is not a reliable source of information. Thank you, Terrastar, for that. I'll look at that now. So, this is apparently like... this is the Dutch app scores on the finalists. So, I guess Dutch people can rate entries out of 10. The Dutch song is first with 8.9. Yeah. Sweden, 7.4. Switzerland and France, 7.1. Austria 6.8, Spain 6.4. Okay, I no longer trust this is I no longer
No,
take
but
this seriously.
Switzerland's second is insane because like I don't think we have talked about this. At least I'm pretty sure I haven't spoke to you about this.
About Switzerland?
Yeah.
Let's talk about it now then. Go ahead.
I already mentioned that I was watching Semi One with like when I was still in the Netherlands with a couple of friends from university, and like 5 of them out of 7 people were casual viewers. Switzerland by far was their favorite
Of
song.
that show, yeah.
I like the performance ended. Everybody was silent, and these people do not shut up. They yapped for every other performance while it was happening. Switzerland dead silent. When the song ended, when the performance ended, they were gagged, they were gooped, and immediately 3 of them went over and saved the song on Spotify to listen to it later.
It is definitely, it's got a really powerful effect, and I think it's going to do it well. One thing to note with these kinds of rate out of 10 polls,
Yeah.
divisive songs do worse. So Ish Comma was in like 18th or something out of 37. That's because some people will hate it.
Yeah.
It's the same with so it favors consensus picks. Consensus picks, you know,
Yeah.
if you have 50 people in a room, right?
Yeah.
And let's say you had and you have song A and song B. 25 people say song A is a 10 out of 10. 25 people say song A is a 5 out of 10. All 50 people say that song B is a 6 out of 10. Nobody will vote for song B.
Yeah.
25 people will vote for song A.
Yeah.
That's the thing. So you've got to remember with these things, you got like Spain is not going to finish 5th in the televote anywhere in any country.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's a fine song. Like if I had to rate it, it had like a 6 on that app. I would probably rate it maybe a 6 out of 10, 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10. I don't hate it. It's fine. It's just not good. It's medium.
It's a 2.
Okay. Do you reckon Israel get top 3 or top 5 in the televote? Top 5, yeah, probably.
Top 3, no. I
think
disagree
top
with
3.
the top 3 part.
My mom didn't like Ish Comma. She called Erica musically challenged. That's incorrect. Continue.
You just mentioned LEP. We were together at LEP, and I was sending my mother like clips of the performances, and I called her like when I got home from London, and she loves Albania. That was by far the only one she cared about, and I was like, "Oh, Finland is my favorite." I was like, "Oh, which?" She asked me, "Which one was that?" And I was like, "The one where she's chanting Ich komme." She was like, "Oh, I thought that was a Nazi song."
Jeez.
So the thing is, young people will really respond to Ich komme. Older people, I cannot see responding to Ich komme at all.
I think it depends on the person because I've, come across older people who think this is the thing, right? As well, is that, and when you get down to the anecdotal level, you're gonna get all kinds of people who ascribe these random, random preconceptions about whatever it is. In this case, the German language. Yeah. They're gonna ascribe that to the entry. You can't really legislate for those people. It's like famously, whenever you get a poll. Which is basically like, would you rather have sunshine and rainbows or the world to end now? There's like 7% of people who will always vote for the crazy option, no matter what it is you're polling on. So I'm afraid I'm going to have to put your mum's opinion down to...
My mother's opinion isn't... I just wanted to get it out there because that's insane. My mother is not an
His mum lives in
authority.
Bulgaria, just to be clear, so she isn't voting.
She's not watching anything.
No, exactly.
She doesn't care.
My 50-year-old mum absolutely adores Ish Comma and serving, but also adores Spain, Netherlands. I think it's more like you can learn a lot from age in terms of like what is likely, okay? Yeah. So for example, like we talked about Luxembourg, you're more likely to enjoy Luxembourg the older you are. But it's not a hard and fast rule.
I've seen on Twitter by gay 40-year-old gays.
I've been seeing, people in their 50s in Euroclub with Ish Comma t-shirts. On the flip side,
Yeah.
So it really varies. And there was a kid who came up to me, couldn't have been older than 18, 19, who in Euroclub, and he loved Luxembourg. It was his favourite song.
Jesus
so you have every possible archetype for every
that's true.
possible.
We cannot just
song.
generalize.
I do love the Ish Comma shirt. I haven't got one because everyone has one now. So I'm like, well, everyone else got there first.
I will get us like 2 t-shirts, but instead of Ich komme, it will just be Ich got 'em.
That would be amazing. I would wear one of those on stream. Euroclub isn't most voters, though. That is true. Look, I think we're going to move on to our final section in a moment where we're going to just sort of... Because obviously you're not going to be back on the stream before we see the end of the contest this year. That said, I'm sure you will be back in future. So we're going to talk about our sort of general impressions, things we like, things we dislike, things we're going to improve. Very quickly, don't forget, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, follow on social media. We will do a last place prediction as well, don't worry. And maybe a full top 5 prediction and all that. Follow on social media, engage. You know, we have all that stuff's in the description. You should also go and follow Gotham. You can subscribe to him on YouTube. Just search ESC Gotham. I'm going to show you his channel on screen so you know what it looks like. Here we go. Here we are. ESC Gotham, right here. And I'm going to put it on screen. Boop. So, make sure to follow Gotham on social media. He's done some really great videos this year. This one here, the hottest takes video, is unhinged. It is so unhinged. And as you can see from all the red bars, I have watched all of these videos. I really enjoy Gotham stuff. I sit down with my girlfriend whenever you put one up. We put it on the TV and pour a glass of wine.
You need one to bear watching my shite 4 minutes of.
No, it's fun, and in fact, my video I put in a reference. I used the "and that is the truth of the matter" clip in my most recent video.
Finally, I cannot believe people are starting to recognize the cultural implication of that.
Of Rachel from
Rachel
X
Lester, yeah.
But no, you definitely want to go and watch Gotham. I think everything you do is fantastic. So, overall impressions of the show. That's where we're going next. Someone said, by the way, that I should clear my WhatsApp notifications because I have 62 notifications. It used to be worse. I had like 150 a few days ago, and I did actually do some clearing. The other 62, I haven't crossed the mental threshold that I need to deal with them yet. Overall impressions of Eurovision as a whole, and this is literally the entire... Oh God, is that a fly?
Yeah.
Okay, I just thought it was a bee for a second. Anyway, overall impressions of Eurovision this year.
I love it.
Well, yes, we love Eurovision. What did you like about this? Was there anything that you were like, ugh, you know?
You know what? I thought the production was gonna be worse. From what I saw, like from clips of the graphics and everything, I was like, oh God, this is gonna be real bad. I still think that they should do something and I sincerely hope that the qualifier graphics, we don't get them for like the table, because that is just a pain in the ass. But other than that, the production is not bad at all. I really like the lineup this year, and I completely do not agree with like people saying, "Oh, this is a weak year." It's not a weak year though. It might actually be one of my favorite years ever, and I don't know. This truly is the year of the shock results, and I think we're discussing everything now, and we're being, "Oh, that's gonna happen," and we're trying to predict it, and we're so sure this or that is gonna happen. I think we're in for a big one tomorrow with both the juries and the televote. That's why I think Switzerland is winning. I
think there's definitely still a room for a shock, and I think you're right. One of the things I wanted to highlight, Dolphin Dane said this in chat, the blooming of non-English entries over the last years has been incredible, and 2025 feels like a victory lap. And the way in which non-English entries have been disproportionately successful in the semi-finals as well. Because if we look at the non-qualifiers here, it goes back to the results on Eurovision World, and I'll show you those now. So if we look at semi-final 1 first, look at the non-qualifiers. All of them are in English. All of the non-English songs qualified in semi-final 1. Then we go to semi-final 2. Look through again. And we only lost the 2 Balkan ballads, which we lost. In fact, to be honest, it was the 3 weakest songs in the semi. Georgia, Montenegro, Serbia.
Yeah.
Everything else that was maybe borderline or not sure about went through.
Seeing non-qualifier next to Czechia really hurts me.
It does, I know. It's tough. More possible countries to come back next year, asks Sam, and says Slovakia. I think especially now, Slovakia not going to happen. I don't think we're going to be seeing them anytime soon. Native languages is a massive success. I agree with you on the production. I think there's some things I don't like.
Oh, yeah.
I will say that the crowd noise and stuff. I kind of find what I forgot her name. Is it Hazel, the one who's completely unhinged? The host.
Yeah.
I love her. She's completely.
I hate the host this year.
I think they're really funny in a just total chaotic way. It speaks to me. It does speak to me. National selections did very well, outperformed internals this year as well.
Yeah.
So this is the good thing about having Dolphin Dane in chat. You just randomly every now and then you are gifted like a free insight, and I'm
Truly,
like, oh yes, excellent.
Wait, so how many of the internally selected songs actually made it to the final? We didn't have Czechia. Czechia didn't make it. Australia didn't make it.
Well, let's look. So in this one, we had 3 internals in semi-2 and 3 selections out. And then, and remember, there was less internals than national selections, so that's disproportionate. In the other one, internal, selection, internal, selection.
And the
3 to
internals
2.
really did not do that well this year, which is kind of surprising. Honestly, like I have to mention it again, Czechia and Australia not making it to the final. Because Belgium, honestly, like when I saw the reception in the room I was in watching semi-1, people did not care that much about Belgium. They were like, oh, this is fun, but that's about it. Czechia and Australia is beyond me.
It makes no sense. I've tried to rationalize this, and I just can't. Someone asks an interesting question. Would Semafuare have qualified?
No. What?
No, it would have come 13th in semi. It would have been in semi-final 1.
Yeah.
Because that's the one with one less. I think they were already drawn into that when they.
They were, yeah.
No, I mean, I look at these 10 songs that qualified and the reasons they qualified, and there's no better reason to put. Because you could go, oh, well, I like it more than Deslocado. And it's like, well, they'd be totally different sets of voters.
Yeah.
There's no Deslocado Semafuare swing voter. I think the production, like I said, the production, good audience mic. I miss the real sound of the audience. I hate how fake the audience sounds because they are turning down the audience mics and using canned applause.
Yeah.
It frustrates me so much because I really love, like last year with Rin Tim Taki Dim.
Yeah.
But what made it was the fact the audience was absolutely losing it.
Yeah.
It was, and we lost that this year, and I hope we get that back because I don't want it to feel like a studio production. It should still feel like a live broadcast.
Yeah.
It should still feel like a live show. I want some of those entries where the camera work is so specific and every movement is intentional, but I just don't want.
Yeah. No,
that.
I agree. The only entry that has audience interaction in it is actually Albanian, if you have noticed. Like the clapping.
People get into it.
Yeah.
Reminds me a little bit of, with Constractor, obviously the whole audience got clapping.
Yeah.
It's one of some certain entries just get people into it.
Yeah.
For the first time ever as well, that all Nordic and Baltic countries are in the final together.
Did all of the Nordics make it?
Yeah.
Oh, I was so wrong in my takes video. Somebody said that all of the Nordic countries are going to be in the final this year, and I was like, no, not gonna.
What tier did you put it in?
It's Jover, I think.
Oh. I think the audience being muted. I can see this one, but it's been held by the Automod. I'm going to allow it. I think the audience being muted is what partially fucked Gojo's qualification chances. It could have done with a bit more audience interaction, yeah.
I disagree.
But at the same time, like Iceland could have done with audience interaction.
Yeah.
They qualified.
So it might have been too much for people, and those people that were interested in Australia after seeing Finland or Malta, they just didn't care that much. I think.
So what about Greece?
What about it? It's there.
It was nice. We liked it. I think we would agree we enjoyed it.
Yeah. Aside from the staging, it's fine.
Yeah, sung very well. It's a good song. I think it was my favorite from the national selection. It was what I wanted to win from the start.
Yeah.
Let the audience scream about boat. I agree.
Yeah.
So we're going to take, I think we've got maybe 10 minutes. We'll aim to finish at 4:30 in 10 minutes' time. We'll take some questions from now until then. So please do. Where would you rank Lusterka if it was in the final?
Oh, it would be in my top 10.
It would be in my top 3.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Lusterka would be my because I've got in the moment I've got Ukraine, Finland, Lithuania as my top 3.
Yeah.
Lusterka could knock one of those out, possibly.
It could be in my top 6, I think.
Would it have qualified?
Yeah.
It's so different.
Yeah.
It's so different that I think it would have qualified. It obviously wouldn't have had the diaspora benefit.
I think they would have had the diaspora benefit.
Really? Because it's being sung in a language that most Polish people wouldn't be able to understand.
Yeah, but it's still Poland. Like
Well, true.
Polish people see the name Poland and go insane. Do you think Tempo would have made it from the Polish selection?
Oh, Chrust?
Hrust, yeah.
Yeah, but it would have been tougher. It would have been like a 10th scrape
Yeah.
through, and it would only have been because of that like cultural reference thing I was talking about.
Yeah.
And people have started saying in chat,
Polska Górom.
Polska Górom, yeah. How many countries will be getting the best result ever?
Well, Albania is winning, so that's one.
Albania seems like a possible shout. That would be
I
really
think
fun.
Albania will be top 5 for sure.
Yeah, who else? Poland, maybe. Well, I guess Idita Goniak was second. Are you talking about points or places? Would you consider attending the Eurovision cruise? I don't think it's for me, I'm afraid. I'm sure people enjoy it, but it's not for me. I'm not a big fan of like big boats. I like going, you take me on a little boat for a day, that's fine. But a big boat for more than a day, not for me.
Yeah.
How do you think Goldilocks would do? I think Goldilocks would be in the running to win the whole thing.
No.
Come on, the staging was glorious. It
Yeah,
played
but
its way into contention.
We just talked about how it's this, from what we've learned from this year, is how
Oh, fine.
it's not about stagings, it's about the actual songs. I think Goldilocks' song was definitely weaker than Nick Comer.
I mean, it was,
not a
but
top
still.
10, not a top 10.
How about Masha Kondratienko?
Oh, absolutely. We might have non-qualified with that one, in all honesty.
I think that every entry in VidBeer. I just got some notifications. VidBeer, sorry if you heard that. I think everything in VidBeer would have qualified, to be honest. By the way, apparently for some reason CNN is now doing Eurovision rankings. Should we see what they have number 1?
Yeah. Armenia last.
Oh, they're only doing ones in the final. 26th, Armenia.
Imagine Dragons.
So yeah, he's very handsome. Something vaguely AI generated about his whole aesthetic. That, you know what? I feel offended by that. Are you saying I seem AI generated?
Yeah.
Well, you've met me in real life, you know I'm not.
The song's Did you see the last sentence of...
What is it? The song's terrible, by the way. San Marino. They basically rolled their eyes. UK. We have hope again. No amount of merciless rejection could crush it. The problem is, it's a dreadful song. This is mean.
It's a hateful article.
Again, nothing in the staging that elevates it. Missed the point about Portugal.
Yeah.
There's a reason it's here. He doesn't scream. I hate everything about this. I don't think I've agreed with a single one so far. That's your worst. I shoot holes into the night, stars fall and bang my roof. How is that your worst lyric? Like, I'm sure there's many. I'm a survivor, stay alive. Was right there.
Yeah. Dark Queen Nation.
This is insane. Oh my god, imagine Dark Queen Nation. At the end of the stream, you're gonna read Dark Queen Nation.
Okay. In the color voice.
It's the weaker of the pair, and the rest of it is just the standard. Look at all this context. Melody, Esadiva, Diva down. Okay, this is too. Okay. Oh, you better be nice about Iceland. Shout pop, potentially a bit too much energy. That's it. Vibe will give you a headache. I hate this article so much. Everyone's taking the piss out of me because I said I'm a saliva.
Oh, Latvia's in 15th.
No way. This is the Google chat. The lyrics are not that bad.
They are, and they're fine.
They're not great, but they're not bad.
They're standard Eurovision lyrics.
It's a touchscreen. We're up to 15th, and he's not said this. They've not said a single nice thing yet. They actually do like. It's interesting, impeccably rehearsed. Won't work for everyone, but that's what Eurovision is about. There we go, got him.
Yay!
Got him like CNN now.
Yeah.
Greece, they managed 15 words. This kind of sums it up. Song's nice, not much else to say.
Yeah.
Netherlands. Oh look, hey, who remembers last time?
Yeah.
Move on. Everyone else has, including the Netherlands. Ukraine. I'm nice to see some appreciation for Ukraine. Estonia. You're angry. The thing is I like this. He does it well. This is the thing. And I found the performance. I think the stage invasion is really funny. We're on to the top 10. Miriana. Girl bossery, oh my god, I can't speak. This always happens in the last 15 minutes of streams. Ariana Grande-esque vocal acrobatics, but it mostly works. That was her outfit in London, by the way. Denmark in the top 10. Let's go. Garg is tired. You're right, Ceci965.
Ariana.
A fabulous, epic, searing ballad.
How is hallucination a ballad?
Did we listen to the same song? This is why every now and then the mainstream press really goes out of its way to prove why fan media is actually a lot better than sometimes people say it is. Everyone says Roa is a ballad. Yes. Sweden only 8th. But they don't say very much about the actual song. Again, it's like you're not written anything. You should never compete in the sauna. It's a bad idea. This is actually true. People have died in the World Sauna Championships before because they stayed in there for too long. Yeah.
I don't like saunas.
I love saunas. Luxembourg 7th. Okay, it would be a crime if this doesn't do well. Playful riposte. Interesting. Italy 6th. It's beautiful. And obviously Nemo loves it. So we're on to the top 5. Still haven't seen Finland yet. So France and Switzerland back to back.
And Albania as well.
Oh, and Albania is still coming. Okay. Eurovision's publicists work harder. We consider more than just an artist. She has been called a bridge between the personal and universal. Who's called her this? Did it just slip out naturally after a couple of pints? Okay,
she's a bridge.
This one is actually funny. What matters is that France has once again founded Gem with a touching ballad dedicated to Luan's late mother. Still no Albania.
Oh God.
Switzerland 4th. This is stunning. Gentle ballad. This one
I'm
actually is
so
a
glad people are enjoying Switzerland across the board.
They love Finland 2. Second is that means Albania is going to be number 1. It's about the operatic vocals and stuff. But CNN's favourite. Let's go.
We're winning.
The favourite of CNN is an intense, bold gentleman and a songstress who looks to have dabbled in a cult or two form Eurovision's unlikeliest pairing. They're singing about an oasis. There's no ambulance around the street. No one talks to you arrogantly, clearly oblivious to the British bachelor parties that plague Tirana, Albania's capital. And they must be huge Eurovision fans, right? No, not at all, Beatrice tells CNN. It's not a type of music. Frankly, their ambivalence is an asset. There is nothing else like this performance on offer, and they're getting deserved buzz as a result. If you believe in the type of music you love, maybe something can happen, Georgie says.
We're so winning. We're so bad.
And you may now spam the Albanian flags in chat.
Zero in chat.
I will permit you to do it now and now only. We're coming to the close of what has been a really, really fun stream. 3 hours have flown by.
Truly.
In exactly 4 hours from now, I'm going to be back on stream. In 3.5 hours, there will be a video for you that I need to go and finish editing. I have about half an hour's work, maybe tops, so that'll be fine. Thank you all so much, as always, for coming. This has been such a fun few hours. We have, I think, worked through some trauma here. A few more therapy sessions, and we'll have made it through. Yeah. Gordon, would you like to tell everyone where they can find you?
You can find me on my YouTube channel. It's @Gorom. I make Eurovision videos, deep dives into lyrics. We get drunk. We hate on camera. If you love hatred and if you have alcoholism, you're gonna love my channel. And that sums me up as a person. I'm also on Twitter and on Instagram, but you can find that through my YouTube channel.
Now, would you kindly read the following passage?
Put some dedication, motivation, no negotiation. Duck Queen Nation, I'm your guarantee, your embassy. You should turn it into beast mode.
That was really beautiful. That was really beautiful, and I think we all felt it. For now, I will see every one of you, I hope, and I'm going to make you all promise me right now you're going to come back in 4 hours' time. If you're looking for something to do in the meantime, I put out a semi-final 1 review on Wednesday, and yesterday an exclusive interview with Jon Ola Sand. Most of you have not watched that yet, so go and watch it now. That is your homework assignment, and I'm going to ask you all what you thought about it in 4 hours' time. For now, As always, thank you all so much for the support. And I'm now going to press the end stream button. So we should probably wave. Bye.